Hello and welcome back to this clusterfuck, this mess of a game that we call Twisted Veil. Happy to see you
Jeez
again.
Louise.
As always, before we get into the adventure of minecarts and poop bandits, we have a few announcements to go over. Let's do those announcements. Everyone knows that the favorite part of any stream is the announcements. Deanna, take us to the announcement zone.
I feel like this game is going to go really well. That's what I'm getting from that. Hi, guys! I'm here to do the shout-outs and the announcements. There'll be a couple that seem very familiar. If you watch this show or any other shows on our channel, then you will be familiar with the two primary first things that I have to shout out at the beginning, our partners. First, I want to shout out Nine Realms Gaming. They create top-notch gaming accessories from the finest woods this realm has to offer. So by gaming accessories, I mean things like dice vaults, dice towers, dice trays, hero vaults. Love that term, love all the terms. They never use any dyes or stains. They use oil-based finishes to bring out the natural wood color of that finest wood. And you can visit their website now and use our exclusive partner code LYRE10, Lyre 10, to get 10% off at ninerealmsgaming.com for that beautiful stuff. And the next name that should hopefully be familiar to you by now is WANDERLILY Dice. WANDERLILY Dice is a small handmade dice making company in Huntsville, Alabama. They make sharp edge dice, dice jewelry, and other adventure items. That's another term I love, adventure items. That's like hand stamped leather journals and handmade resin pens. You can find their shop at wanderlilydice.com, and you can use the code INK and LYRE10 to get 10% off of your order. And I mightily suggest that you do. And then, kind of a new thing, I think it's the first time we've mentioned it on this show, unless you mentioned it last week when I wasn't doing announcements, but that's fine. So I want to remind you guys that our charity live stream is coming up. We'll be doing a Neverland charity live stream on April 16th. Oh, they wrote down that I'm amazing and talented, but I'm not going to read that because I'm very humble. Just me, Deanna Smit, will be DMing the charity live stream. And we're going to be using a module, Neverland, the Impossible Island by Diana. She is known as Super Dylan, at Super Dylan on Twitter, and is also the co-host of the Femsplained podcast. I've been reading that setting over and over the last few days as I'm building up my framework and everything for the one-shot, and it's really beautiful. I cannot suggest enough that you guys check it out because there's some really, really cool ideas in there. All right, the other announcement that hopefully you can tell if you're here right now, Twisted Veil start time is moving from 7 p.m. Central Standard Time to 8 p.m. Central Standard Time on Tuesdays today. You'll notice it's around 8 p.m. now, so you're experiencing that. It's not reflected in our channel trailer just yet, but that will be updated. All right, next thing that I have to shout about is the sounds, the audio, the music. I don't think there's anything playing right now, but I do want to shout out the folks that we use the audio of. So first to Sirenscape for the majority of the ambient sounds, a lot of the music, and the online player that we use on stream. Sirenscape has been really great for us. And then I also want to shout out Ounces Music, who's a musical artist who is responsible for a great deal of our soundtrack. Brent actually commissioned him specifically. And if you like the music that you're hearing and you want to see what else he's doing, you can check him out at Bandcamp, Twitter, Instagram, or SoundCloud at Ounces Music. Alright, and if you like not just the music that you hear, but also the show that you're experiencing and you're having a good time and you like the other shows on our channel, you should join us on Discord. It's free. You can come chat with our community and cast members if you're feeling it. We're really chatty people, and a lot of our viewers are really crafty, like talented artists, and we just go, yeah! It's a really great place to hang out. There are links to our Discord in the About tab on our Twitch profile, or you can pull it up with Command Discord, !Discard, if you want to get up on the chatting. I believe there's only one more thing for me to say, and that is, of course, for this particular show on the channel, viewer discretion is advised. Twisted Veil is intended for mature audiences. We deal with some heavy themes and some potentially triggering subjects. And of course, I think and Larry firmly believe that your mental health is the most important thing. If anything I'm going to list here sounds like this isn't a good topic for me or I'm not in a place to deal with it tonight, sit out tonight. We'll see you next week. We love you, and your brain staying brain shaped is the most important thing. We love you guys. The themes that we want to cover, that are covered throughout the show, but especially tonight, are violence, gore, drug use, various adult themes, adult language, sickness, horror, and various phobias. I don't think there's anything else specific that we are dealing with tonight, but Brent, if there's something that you want to toss in here, just yell. That is everything that I have to yell about. I want to throw it back to Brent. Go ahead, Brent.
All right, rock and roll. Well, let's grab our cowboy hats. Hopefully you don't have headphones, so sit straight. Let's dive into the town of Innocence and hop on that train into Twisted Vale. So, last time on our Beautiful, Beautiful game, we were introduced to some amazing characters, Frey and Meave. After speaking with the man called Sue, they were made aware of the political ramifications of this small town. The guild has essentially cut off the lifeblood of the town by forcing all the miners out of the mines. As Frey talked to Sue, he discovered that there was a person of importance, a personal friend that Sue wanted to rescue, a reporter. Frey took the wandering archaeologist with him, known as Meave, and together they infiltrated the mines through poop banditry. After rescuing the beaten and bruised Tobias, they found themselves at the bottom of the town well. Off camera, Ellie's price earned its reward in desperation, in a desperate decision to save Nemo, which we will go into. But before we go into that, we're going to focus on Frey, Meave, and our good boy, Toby. We get the music going on here. Yeah. All right. So you guys, we last left off where you're at the bottom of the well. You end up climbing out, and you're drenched. Essentially, you guys were sucked under this underground, just water pipe toilet, being bashed against rocks, sucked, hitting walls and everything. You wake up coughing at the bottom of a well. You climb out and find yourself back in the town of Innocence. Meave, when you first rode in, you kind of went to the saloon because that's where business happens in small towns like this, and you didn't really have a good chance to look at the well. But now that you are drenched like a wet dog and climbing out of it, you see that it seems quite out of place, especially with your natural archaeologist-esque talents. It's made of very, very fine stone. There is this sort of elegant, beautiful, almost like Tolkien-esque archway with like smooth curves to it that's so thin and brittle it doesn't look like it should be standing. And perched on the top are two cherubs, but their heads have fallen off. It does not look that it would be built by simple desert folk in a boom town. It's a little too elegant for that. But with that, you find yourselves drenched. The hot sun and the orange sky up above is rapidly heating that water, drying your clothes. It is so hot out today. Like even as you come out, you can look and you can kind of see like the steam rising off the clothes. And the scene is yours. You three.
Well, that's a bit foreboding, isn't it? Forget us, lest you release evil onto the world. I have to admit, I'm curious.
We can figure it out when we go back down there. Let's get somewhere safe first. I'm not a little too exposed out here.
Yeah, we need to get you 10-2. Back to Sue then.
Who's Sue?
Get back to Sue. Sue's a friend of mine. And he could probably pull a bullet or two out of my chest here.
Well, that's good, because I've got only basic.
Let's have him take a look at my leg. It's pain's starting to come back a little bit.
Let's do it. I immediately heave Tobias on my shoulder and start walking.
Sack of potatoes. Whoops.
So we drip our way back to the saloon.
Okay. You guys make your way down the dusty street and eventually back into the saloon. Still pretty barren. Couple folks in the corner. But Sue's sitting there. Tobias, this is your first time seeing Sue. He's a fellow of average height, wearing a black duster, a black hat with a white band, and he has that firm jaw with like the rugged stubble. But he keeps his rancher hat pulled low, always hiding his eyes. And he sits there with this porcelain white guitar. And as the doors swing open and you guys sort of walk in, feet stomping on the old wooden floor, he begins to pluck the guitar. And he sings a little ditty. And they came from the north, from the floor depths, that silver tongue teller from the all-black press. They rode into town, far down to the west, those killers and liars in a corset and dress. And he slowly flips the brim of his hat up, looks and says, well, as I live and sing, Tobias Cook, I've seen horse shit in better condition than you. And it looks like you brought your friends. That's fine. The solitary lifestyle of a small town can often leave a man's soul feeling desolate.
Tobias is gonna sit down across from Sue. Yeah, it's horse shit. It's been a bit of a rough few weeks for me. My friend over here, Frey, he says you can look at my leg. You've been.
I'm
start with
snapping. I'm snapping at Joe. Joe, we need your drinking whiskey and we need your medicine whiskey. Come on over.
Whiskey. All right. And the little stout man, Joe, when you say medicine whiskey, he begins to pull out like herbs and like essentially what look like small pills and like actually crush them up and put them into the drink, which begins to fizz aggressively. Meanwhile, Sue says, kind of pulls up a wristwatch, looks at it. Well, by my account, y'all a bit early.
Well, you expecting us to be late? Who are you?
Meanwhile, the camera cuts out. Back into the streets, two figures ride into town. Two familiar figures. For the first time, Ellie and Nemo, you see the small town of Innocence. The first thing that greets you is a small wooden sign, sort of jammed into the ground a few yards out, that says the town of Innocence, population 12,000, but that's crossed out. Population 850, but that's crossed out. Population 437. It's a small town of leaning, splintering buildings. It's difficult to discern what's abandoned and what isn't. The wood painted signs are worn away from the desert heat and the erosion of sand, and what few people walk about the streets are dusty, ragged, and they watch you both riding in with narrowed, suspicious eyes. There's a loud creak of a rocking chair on a porch that catches your attention. You see an old man in a straw hat and overalls as he starts to play a somber tune on a rusty harmonica and watches you.
Riding in, Ellie is wearing her hat, has her trench coat. The Chesterfield 1879 is slung over her shoulder. Not illegal, I assume, in these parts of the world. And she is just eyeing the harmonica for just a moment. There's kind of a shadow over her as she rides a little bit behind Nemo, who is ahead of her, and just stares over towards the harmonica playing individual and just is watching as she passes.
He pulls it from his lips. You're outsiders. Outsiders don't last much around here.
Nor does it seem that people who are from here last a while. You see the sign?
You with them blood coats trickling in?
No?
Best be heading to the saloon. And he goes back to rocking and starts playing the harmonica.
Nemo has been just riding forward this whole time. That was clearly not Tobias, so she wasn't going to stop. Nemo has changed clothes. She appears to be... I mean, she's always been very tiny, but she appears to have donned a corset of some kind because she looks even smaller than normal. And she is wearing what is essentially a black, fashionable woman's walking outfit of the Edwardian era. She is wearing very nice, upper middle class clothing. She still has rat's nest white hair and some not quite expertly applied makeup, but there's been an effort. And she is not riding it all the correct way that you're supposed to ride when you're wearing a full skirt on a horse, but it's more comfortable to ride the way that she's riding. And she's just continuing going forward to where, just looking around at the people, searching for a specific face.
Nothing specific hits your attention. You notice a few of the faded signs where the paint's just been peeled away from the sun. You notice like a doctor's office. There's a collapsed building that's like black and burnt. The saloon. It's just a single street. At the very end is a large 2-story building, a simple manor with a large clock face nestled between the steepled roof, and a few yards in front of that is a well. It doesn't take very long till you just get to a point where there's no more road to walk down because the town's that small.
Can we determine where the saloon would be based upon harmonic person's statement?
Yeah, so like I said, there's a few signs. Just there is a building with a simple sign up above the rafters that just says saloon.
I will notice it, but not say anything until Nemo notices it.
Yeah, after reaching the end of the street and staring up at that clock for a while, I'll turn the horse around and go back to where Ellie is.
I mean, it doesn't take a notice check. There's only like 2 buildings that have actual fairly large. You're just like saloon. There's like maybe like 20 buildings here altogether.
What then is in there then?
Probably.
Okay. What am I supposed to do with the horse?
I don't know.
I'm assuming I can't take it in with me.
Tie it up.
Yeah, okay, thank you. I'm gonna ungallantly hop off the horse and tie it in some fashion to some post.
After Nemo does this, Ellie will follow suit.
There's the classic little rack out front for the horses. You flip the reins around. Nemo, you have noticed that this horse is not nearly as interested in you or loving as your previous horse. It just kind of does what it's told, and when you try to bond with it, it just has no interest in you.
I understand. I can tell that it's a replacement. It doesn't have the same bond. But...
All right.
Sad.
I still have the same horse, right?
Yeah, you've been riding for a while.
All right.
You didn't even name it. You don't.
I have
That's
a name.
always an
Got it.
option.
Gotta
I
name it,
absolutely
damn
have a name.
horse.
What's his name then?
Tornado.
Tornado.
What?
Tornado.
Tornado was taken, so she named him Tornado.
Why?
Was your previous horse Tornado?
You got a problem with Tornado?
I just don't understand the reasoning, but you can name.
It sounds cool.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, do it. You know what? I think it sounds great. Like, do you have a contact in there, or do we just go in and he'll be?
Oh, we're not talking about Tornado anymore.
No, yeah, sorry.
I don't know. Look, I don't know how this is gonna work. All right, we showed up here. Hopefully, everything is fine.
Nemo's just gonna start walking in, like, partially while Ellie is still talking about how we don't know what we're doing.
Okay.
Ellie will just be quiet and then just follow Nemo.
You guys walk in, and we cut back to the inside right before you get in, where Tobias, you had asked, "Are you waiting for someone?" There's this awkward silence that lasts like maybe 10 seconds. The only sound in the room is the slow turning fan moved by like the soft breeze coming through the holes in the wall. And Sue just stares at you, and he smiles and just does a little. And then you hear the doors swing open, and you look behind you, and there's Ellie and Nemo, almost like he just knew. And he says, "Yep."
Tobias is gonna get up and like his face is stunned and like I don't know what to say. He's gonna walk over, like hobble over on his black and bloodied leg, and he's gonna like fucking stare in shock like, at both of them, going back and forth like,
You look terrible.
it's been a rough few weeks.
Yeah, he's still in his prison jammies, by the way.
Yeah, still. You guys don't know how happy I am to see a familiar face. A face that's not Hash.
Nemo is going to extremely awkwardly and in stilted movements come forward and give Tobias a hug.
He's going for it and just like and like tight and like, oh my god.
Yeah, why do you look like shit? What happened?
I've been in the mines for 2 weeks. Digging with no food, no water. Pissing in a bucket. It's that rough? How'd you get out of that coffin? That was an ordeal.
Complicated. It doesn't. I'm very sorry that how. I'm still holding on to Tobias because I don't know the normal length for a hug, so I'm just gonna kind of turn my neck around and look at Ellie to see. I mean, you got out though, and you're okay. And you're You're good.
As
You're
you both look at Ellie, Toby, kind of over Nemo's shoulder, Nemo turning. Ellie has not approached you and is sort of standing in the doorway. I'm assuming it's bright outside and it's dark inside. Is that correct? Almighty GM.
It's not too dark. As we had kind of stated before, this place is pretty ramshackle. So like even between, there's no windows, but the boards are just like kind of split and crooked. That there's like the holy shafts of light. You know, when you got like just amount of dust, and it's just like these spotlight beams are kind of creeping through with that fan just.
As you two are looking at Ellie, who's backlit, you can see that she just sort of rubs one eye, and you both get the sense for just a second that there could have been a tear of some kind, and then, glad you're okay.
Me too. Me too. I'm glad. I never thought I'd see any of you again. I got your note, and then I just waited, and I did my best to stay positive, but it's. I'm glad you're back. I'm glad you're back.
How did you look around? I'm gonna let you go at this point. I'm gonna be looking around the bar. Witnesses, weapons, areas of danger in the bar. I'm assuming I see Frey and Meave.
You see Frey leaning down to Meave and whispering something, and what I'm whispering to Meave is, I don't think they hug very often.
Maeve's gonna kind of have the arms folded in front and looks up and goes.
Then I tip my hat.
Ellie will walk by you, Toby, as you're sort of saying these things. Nemo's surveying the area, put a hand on you for just a second. Glad it all worked out. Who are your two companions?
They're Frey and Meave. They got me out. I don't know who they are, but they got me out. So that's the most important thing. I assume I need to get my leg looked at. He's gonna go back, hobble back over, and sit down because I'm in a lot of pain right now. It's all coming back to me. I got a pickaxe in my leg.
Come sit, have a drink while he gets seen.
He's gonna shakily take the whiskey.
Just gonna make a little eye contact with Ellie of like, this is what you were expecting. Everything's on par with what you expected. Okay.
Go sit down, staring at Toby. Either of you doctors?
I've got a little bit of experience, but I would not call myself a doctor now.
We got medicine of our own kind here, and I pour whiskey on Toby's leg.
Oh!
Right, okay.
It'll only hurt for a little bit, partner, don't worry. And then I hand him a glass of whiskey to keep drinking.
You take it.
Well, I got a little bit of experience as well. Maybe we could put that together and see if we can patch Toby up.
That's
Absolutely.
got to be like an actual doctor here, right? Like somewhere, like that's not just whiskey.
Hold on.
Sue announces himself with a as he like just runs his fingers across the guitar. I mean, there is a doctor, but before you head out, I think we should have a talk. Tobias's wound is a circumstantial situation that coincides with the current goals at hand.
All right, well, we'll dress it and yeah. So
forgive me. I'm the man they call Sue. Pleased to meet you. Would y'all like to have a seat?
Okay, sit down. We're all friends here, right? We're all friends. Come on, sit down. We'll have my new friends meet my old friends, and we'll have a grand old time.
All right.
If there is a way to box Tobias between me and Ellie, I would like to fill that chair. But if that is not possible, I will find another seat.
yeah, Maeve would sit on the other side of Nemo.
Nemo pulls a 3/4 full bottle of brandy out of her. She's got a lot of pockets built into her skirt. It doesn't look like there should be anything there, but there's a full bottle. Picks it up, opens it. Okay.
Introductions, I suppose, are in order.
By all means, friendship is important. It helps with the inevitable isolation that one has and one does through selfish goals.
Right. Well, I'll start then.
You see Ellie nod. She wasn't going to start.
I'm Maeve of Phelan. I'm an archaeologist, and I just happened to be in the area. Wanted to have a look at what was down in the mines, and it was a good opportunity to do that and do some good as well. But yeah, that's the up and down of it, I suppose. But yeah, nice to make your acquaintance.
Ray Miller. And I tip my hat. But you kind of see me like reach into my duster a little bit and just kind of rub my chest. A little hurting. You may notice just like a little bit of blood, but it's super dark. I wipe that on my pants and go, Joe, I'm gonna need the tongs, brother.
Yeah, I got your tongs. Now, look, the left one is filled with special concoctions of powders and whatnot that I grabbed. Highly illegal, knock you straight on your ass. The other two, straight whiskey. And he puts the one that he warned you about in front of Toby. And then I'll run down to the blacksmith. You want them heated this time or not?
Yeah, I'm gonna need them heated.
Cauterize the wound, I always say. You know that doc, she's Wylie.
Thanks, brother.
And he leaves you guys alone in the bar.
Going to fix Tobias's legs with heated tongs.
Nope, those are for me.
What happened to you?
We ran into some trouble in the mines. We had some guild members, and I may have taken a few shells to the chest.
He left with a couple extra holes in him.
Right. Okay.
Still standing and
What
still
needs
able
it?
to talk. Respectable. Melly Wylie.
Ellie, nice to meet
Pleasure.
you. And how about you? Looks at Nemo.
Oh, Frey, your friend here says that they were there for, archaeological interest. What were you doing in the mines?
My friend Sue here asked me to go get a reporter.
Okay,
I like to do favors for my friends.
that's very nice of you. Okay. And Nemo does not answer the question.
Maeve is still looking at Nemo intently, very much like not like intimidating at all, just like,
You want some brandy?
oh, that's very kind of you to offer, but I'm all right with the whiskey. That's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Thank you very much for getting Tobias out of the mines. Appreciate it.
Of course. I'm a little hesitant to hand over my new friend to someone who won't give us their name, though. I believe we are all friends here.
I trust them. I trust. They said they were going to come back from me. They rode out here with me, and then they said they were going to come back, and they came back. That's more trust than, it's quite a bit of trust.
How about this? My friend here tends to be pretty private. I'll be the conversationalist probably in this group, other than Tobias, who likes to run his tongue. We'll arm wrestle for it. If I win, she doesn't have to say her name.
I can say it. I mean,
You sure?
unless you really want to arm wrestle it. Yeah. I just don't. It's alright. Do you want to arm wrestle?
You'd look at me, Ellie, and she's like, come on, give me a chance here. This guy's big. This is a
Yeah,
chance.
actually, it's extremely secretive, and I can't tell you.
Ray blushes, but agrees. Let's do it.
Bridge.
Would you like the handicap? And I hold up the metallic arm that is the entirety. Oh, we haven't described ourselves to these two individuals. As you look at Ellie, she's kind of long, somewhat brunette hair, pulled into a ponytail. You can see that she's definitely broken her nose a couple of times, is strong jawed, patchy clothes. It's not looking great. Her clothes have really seen some wear and tear over some time. As she shifts, you can see a pistol held into like a vest holster. And the Chesterfield rifle sits on her back. And as she lifts up, you can see that as she says, "Would you like the handicap?" And she holds up an entirely metallic arm on her left arm. That is the entirety of her left hand with a little barcode on the back of it. Or do you like it just an equal fair square?
I want the strongest arm you got.
All right. And she holds up the metallic arm.
As I grab your hand, you do notice that my nails, a little sharper than what you'd expect.
Don't leave a scratch.
I'll do my best.
You can also see as Ellie puts the arm up, you see like a phew, phew, of like little bits of wires and sparks. This arm is not a great arm. You can also see that there is an entirely mechanical eye in her right eye as she stares at you. Okay.
Yeah, the young woman who will not give you her name until you arm wrestle her friend who desperately wants to arm wrestle. It's a little bit difficult to guess her age. She's some sort of teenager, probably an older teenager, maybe 21 at the oldest. Extremely small, tops like 4'11", very, very pale skin, platinum blonde hair that's almost white, that looks like possibly in the last 6 months it might have been combed. She's wearing, like I said, quite nice fashionable women's clothes, but it's all completely black. It's like an Edwardian Hot Topic dream. She appears to have deep pockets in various places on her clothes that you can't quite see until she takes something large, like a brandy bottle, out of them. And she has very large, very dour, dark brown eyes that she has applied. It looks like if the person who's just trying makeup for the first time and they put on so little that you can't quite see it, but definitely there's something there. There was an attempt that was made. And she's just gonna be glaring at your arm wrestling match and nursing her brandy that she brought to the bar from her own personal stash.
Sitting on the other side of Nemo is a relatively feminine, like androgynous femme-like looking person. They're not really large or small, they're very average, and they have really kind of small, petite facial features, except for a longer, like, Greek nose. Their hair's pulled back in a sort of braid, but it's very wispy, like they never quite managed to get the whole thing in. They've got green eyes and sort of a small smattering of freckles, off-white linen top that's like rolled up to the elbows, brown tweed waistcoat, brown trousers, brown boots, a saddlebag that is stuffed full of like papers and other things kind of sticking out of it. And that's about it. That's the basics on Maeve. And Frey?
And the man you're about to arm wrestle here is quite a large person, about 6'7", decently trimmed up beard, pretty clean cut, wears a dirty old cowboy hat, brown, along with a long, dusty, now riddled with bullet hole duster, and just wears a plaid shirt underneath that. Nothing too crazy. And yeah, quite a large man. You notice he's got scars on his face, mostly around his eyes, which are completely mechanical. Both eyes are, and you can tell that the surgeon did a pretty haphazard job. It was a pretty rushed job on it, so it's not pretty to look at by any means. So if you don't remember him by his height, you'll certainly remember his eyes. Pretty stocky build and decently well mannered, and just a chill guy.
We're gonna do this.
I want to hear about Tobias's beautiful, beautiful face covered in bruises.
Gorgeous.
About to do me too? Okay. Tobias is unshaven, dirty, filthy, stinky. Still cut well, maybe a little bit cleaner because he just had that run in the rapids down under the town. But prison jammies, nothing on him, nothing to his name, except the radio that's like still peeks his head up, crawls up over his shoulder and is like looking at everyone. But very, very tired, very, drunk on this whiskey that he's been sipping and bleeding out of his leg. But, it's fine. Yeah.
All right. Let's do it.
So this is posed might checks. Is that it, right?
Might or athletics, depending if you're trained.
You're gonna get fucking smushed, dude.
Trevor, you got that 11 at books.
So that'll be a 12.
All right, and I got a 13.
Oh!
Oh. Well fought. He holds his chest a little bit. Well fought.
Well, you don't gotta say your name if you don't want to.
Got brandy on her. We'll get along just fine.
I don't know if that was entirely fair, considering your arm is made out of metal and he just got shot.
Nah. Fight's a fight. I signed on for it.
I'm looking at Nemo with the clearest. Come on, don't take this away from me. Kind of look.
My name is Nemo. It's not very relevant.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Right, so do we pay you? Has that already been arranged in some way, or?
It should be taken care of.
Okay, great. Yeah, okay.
I'm not looking for payment.
Maeve, did we get paid?
Not that I know of. I thought the experience was the payment,
When Nemo, when Ellie says it should be taken care of, I turn to look to Sue.
Not that
Go ahead, Toby.
not that I'm not grateful or anything, but I just want to know why Sue? Why did you hire two lovely individuals to get me out of that hellhole?
Well, I'm what you would call a proprietor of financial offerings when desirable individuals offer such opportunities. And said desirable individuals sent a little message down the Pony Express, I suppose you could say. And it benefited me for them to help you, and for you to be helped by them is beneficial. Everyone here, for their own individual reasons, often some selfish, have the same desires, the same goals. Now, I am just a humble guitarist, but those goals are to get the guild gone. Am I mistaken?
No,
My ostentatious speech?
No, it sounds like you got some good goals there, Sue.
Well, there's a lot of people with a lot of different goals, and I tend to side with the faction that is more self-serving.
Well,
Always talk like that.
If I'm not talking, darling, I'm singing.
I wouldn't mind seeing the guilds gone in Innocence. They don't seem to be particularly a positive influence, and they're in my way for exploring the mines. So
There's a little bit more than just the guild in the way, though. They got a tank on them.
yeah,
Best way I can describe it. Giant machine that is hell-bent on destroying this town if we step 1 foot out of line.
All the more reason You all need to do it quietly and quickly. The guild are here because whatever is down there in those mines, and if whatever is down there in those mines were to skedaddle right on into the sunset in a true romantic fashion, the guild would have no reason to be here. They would up and leave, and things could get back to normal.
Once down there, if it is capable of skedaddling, like with legs or something.
Well, any clues we have will come to our new fine friends here. Mr. Frey, Meave, and Toby, what do y'all see down there? If you don't mind me asking. Maybe you'll write a song about it.
I can tell you what we saw up here. There's writing on the well. It says, "Forget us, forget what you see, unless you release evil unto the world." So, I guess what is evil is sort of a matter of perspective.
You talking about those chicken markings I saw carved around that well when I rolled in on that beautiful white steed of mine?
Yeah, it looks like chicken markings to an untrained eye for sure, but that's never born.
What, demon?
No, never born.
They can write.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was surprised too. You think they're just monsters, but they got a language.
Yeah, and it's apparently used for releasing evil into the world. At least they're consistent, I suppose.
Actually, it seemed like it was a sort of a warning, to be honest with you. So, I'm not really sure what it meant, or why it meant that. But they were the original inhabitants of the world, after all. This world.
Ain't that a peach on a cool winter's day?
What? What does that mean?
What does what mean?
Why do you talk like that? A peach on a cold winter's day? What does that mean?
Metaphors and flowery descriptions are the ways of music. I mean, why just recently I had written up a wonderful ballad while we was waiting for your arrival.
Okay, great. Yeah.
I know somebody who would get along with you. Let's cut to the chase, though. We're going to be paid already for doing this task of getting something outside of the mine. We were told that by somebody back in Malifaux. What are you willing to give us in exchange for dealing with the tank or anything more?
Well, I am convinced that my associate did not offer any said payment. You're familiar with the rather stern, unpleasant bartender, I believe, by the name of Ronan?
Yep.
I'm here on her behalf and Mr. Barrows.
Yep.
Now, your contract is with different individuals. Those more inclined to unionization and arcanic obsessions, you could say. My goal is to get the guild out of town, and if we want to get the guild out of town, well, the first thing you're all going to need to do is find out what happened to Rishu Chetty.
Is that a person you just said?
Yes. Rishu Chetty was the fellow who found out whatever it was that brought all this unwanted attention to our little slice of paradise. Soon after, he died. Now, I'm just a simple man, a strummer of hopes and sorrows, if you will, but it sounds to me like this city has a mole. Someone sent notice to the guild and brought that plague down on us. And I may have a way for you to get back into those mines, but I'm not sending you back until we root them out. After all, who's to say they ain't gonna warn the Bloodcoats you're coming?
So, let me ask you a question. What was Rishu Chetty's occupation?
He was a miner.
Oh,
He was
Okay.
the one that dug in and found whatever strange oddities were down there worth mentioning.
So you said he found it. Did he? He saw it. He knew what it was.
He saw something, and he told the wrong person.
He went to the guild instead of the union. Okay.
I don't think he went to the guild. I think he told the wrong person, and someone else told the guild.
How
Miners
close are
out. Sorry, go ahead, Jake.
How close are the guild for getting what they want from this place?
This place hates the guild. Most of the people you see around here are runaway convicts, misfits, people who wandered the desert for 40 years to try to start a new life away from their influence. And as a miner, it's probably in good with the union. Nah. Rishu Chetty wouldn't have said something. Someone else did. And with any good town, well. And he looks over at the empty bar because Joe hasn't come back yet from the blacksmith. He says, rumors live and die at the well, don't they? The well of liquor.
Logistically, with the redcoats here,
Yeah.
do you have any idea of their numbers, their rank? Are there a great many
Oh.
grave marshals, or
I try not to concern myself with that. I see their camps rolling up
it
outside
sounds
of town.
relevant though.
To do such a thing would make me more than a simple musician, I suppose you could say. I'm just here to sing a song, brighten your spirits, and make a little extra on the side. Maximum payment for minimum risk, I suppose you could say.
Yeah, we got risk in spades. Where's this Reshi guy? Where can we find this Reshi guy?
He's
Has he
dead.
come?
Someone killed him.
Where do they bury the dead?
For that, you'd have to probably talk to the doctor, Dr. Agatha Lee.
Yeah, we should probably go talk to her anyway with your leg there, Tobias.
Maybe you'll get lucky, and Joe Cooper over there will give you some info if you wet his whistle enough.
Bet
And
his
who
whistle.
else knows? Yeah, give him some liquor.
If you don't mind contributing, Nemo.
I've only got 2 bottles left. Okay, yeah, no, yeah, I can do that.
We're
Do we
working
want
for
Go ahead.
we're working for one person. You were wanting us to go find this Rishu guy. What's in it for us?
You find Rishu. You find out who the mole is. That in turn helps me help you. I'll give you a way to get back into that mine. But only after these people are safe. I got a soft spot for the desolate and unwanted, I suppose you can say.
I mean, not that I'm too excited to go back down into the mines, but wouldn't they be safe if we get what the guild's after before the guild does? We could scare him away. If it's a weapon, we could scare him away. If it's, something dangerous, maybe we could
If
use
there's
it
a
before
mole
they
in
could.
this city, or if there's a mole in this town, with what I have plans, they're gonna know you're coming.
Beef.
And as our friend said with that tank, I don't think you want that.
Hey, Meave. You're an archaeologist.
I am that.
You ever hear of anything they find that's worse than a tank?
I'm sure there are powers that are beyond our initial comprehension, but a tank is pretty bad.
Okay.
We're gonna need to handle the tank. And who the hell would be a mole in this town?
Probably one of the miners.
Could be anyone.
And
Anyone
big,
who
though.
lives in the 2-story?
well, I haven't been around that long. I wouldn't know that.
You don't know who lives in the 2-story house that's in the middle of town?
Afraid not. I just sit in the saloon and sing a nice song every now and then.
Frey now.
Yeah, Frey, you don't know a lot about the doctor. You know
Yeah.
that the doctor is a bit of a shut-in.
Okay.
There's not a lot of accidents that happen out here, but there is a town doctor. The mayor lives in the big house at the inn. You know that his last name is Workman. He's been the mayor for quite some time, and that's about it.
He's the mole for sure.
2-story house.
You do know that I will say, because you have been around here for a while, Frey, like, this place is dead during the
Yeah.
day, but
Yeah.
before the guild came to town, this is where the miners would go. They'd come here, they'd drink, they'd laugh, they have a good time. If anybody probably has any insight as to what that, like, who killed Rishu Chetty, there's a good chance it could start with Joe Cooper.
All right, let's go talk to Joe Cooper.
Alright, my concern is he told us to liquor up a man who owns a bar. Is that really the method we're going to go with?
Let me put it this way, Nemo. When Joe doesn't get a lot of stock, when I order the finest whiskey in town, he kind of combines bottles and hands that to me. So, yeah, giving him a bottle of brandy couldn't hurt.
Might be
Oh,
happy
you-
with a bit of variety.
Me, if you want to help me patch up Toby a little bit here while the other two grab hold of Joe.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get it at least cleaned up and bandaged, stave off the bleeding until we can get it addressed.
I would like to aid me in any doctor check.
All right.
Oh, doctor checks, they're always so complicated. For all intents and purposes, we're just gonna put it at target number 11 right now, because
Okay.
that's gonna take me far too long to look up.
Okay.
Flip with positive because you're getting assisted.
Wait. Sorry. So
Flip-
what do I do?
flip
With
flip
Twice,
and take a
okay.
high.
Awesome. That I will do because that's a freaking 3. So. Oh, and that's a 1. Lovely. Even with my
Oh, no.
plus, that's not going to do anything. All right.
Unfortunately, you try to look it over, but it's definitely been festering for a while and it's infected.
Okay, yeah, so that's basically what Meave is gonna. We can clean it a little bit with this kind of like rubs the the whiskey around to clean up the blood, and rewrap it up. But it needs to be looked at. It's infected, and that's not a good thing.
That's good news. Yeah, infected leg. I've never been happy in my life.
Yeah, sorry,
Okay.
probably should have been a little more subtle about that.
No, your bedside manner is the best in town.
A lot of Ellie's support of Meave is being like, while Meave is working on Toby, Ellie is just like, "You're gonna be fine, Toby. You're fine. Don't worry about it. Stop. Don't touch it, Toby. Stop it."
I just need a little bit more whiskey to solve all my problems. I'm gonna drink some more whiskey.
Look, I don't know if this is better bedside manners or worse, but I can say I don't think it's going to have to be amputated or anything like that, so don't worry too much. Just, we've got to get you to someone who has a few more tools than me, that's all.
I thought I was gonna be almost as cool as Ellie for a second, but no, it's okay. Don't amputate my leg.
I mean, we could if you want, but I think that would be a bit of an issue.
It's fine. I can't be the only cool one. Or I can't take her cool. It'd be fine.
All right,
Um,
yeah, well, then relax and keep drinking whiskey and we'll find someone to help you.
Yeah.
At this point,
Shake.
Joe comes back. He has a
When
pair
Joe comes
of.
in, I take my half-empty brandy and I put it back into my pocket. Just so he doesn't know that I've been drinking something at his bar.
Yeah. You
Okay.
you quickly slip it in. He puts a pair of blacksmith tongs down on the counter. The ends of them are red hot, and immediately it just brands the counter when it sizzles. Short, squatty man just sort of hobbles around behind, looks over. Glasses are empty. You want another?
Yes, please.
Yeah, we're gonna need some more rounds, Joe. I grab the tongs and start walking to the corner of the bar.
All right, let me see what I got. I got a nice concoction I made up of a mixture of venoms and whatnot. Should numb you right up if you want, Frey.
I'll take them. Yeah. Why the hell not? I'll stay conscious, right?
All right.
Oh boy.
And like he begins to pull out mugs, and he's pouring the whiskey, and he says, "Those fucking city folk, they mix liquor. Nah. You want a good cocktail? You take what's natural around you, poisons, venoms, and drugs, and that knocks you off your fucking ass. Now you take this, right? It's gonna make your tongue numb for a few days. Your lips are gonna turn blue, but I guarantee you, pain will be an illusion. The sun will beat down on you, and when it does, your body will beat back on it."
I'm gonna fake take the shot. I'm gonna toss it back, but like comedically, just nope.
Give me a target number 7 stealth check.
Stealth.
That's the shot.
You know what? Sleight of hand.
Pickpocketing.
Pickpocketing. Yeah, pickpocketing.
Yeah, which is it's speed. So whatever your speed is.
Oh no bueno. All right, flip good.
Zack, that's you flipping?
Oh yeah, that is me. You're right. It is me.
Sorry.
Forgot for a
He's too
second.
busy holding his leg on the other side.
Exactly.
Of the bar.
You got an 8 of books.
Target number 7. Do you have any negatives to speed?
Nope. It's a 0.
You're fine. He's Joe is always a bit off because he takes pride in what he does, and like it's a common occurrence for him to mash up pills that he got from God knows where,
I want to
and
respect that.
herbs and whatnot. And you've seen his cocktails do some weird shit to people. You've seen people. They're not drunk, that's for sure. You've seen people like tripping balls, like, and you're kind of like, all right, he means well. And when he has like a little almost like a jewelry box just with like pills and drugs and stuff, and he's like, put it back up. He's like, all right, stay down there, my kids, and you just like mumbling to himself, put it back.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, I'd say I'm worried about you bleeding on the floor, but
Do you
at
need?
this point, you're not the first.
Do you want me to pull it? Or...
Nah, you know what? I'll be all right. You just stay right over there. I'm gonna walk as far away as I can, and I'm gonna try to just yank a bullet out, or 2 or 3, however many I got.
It's still gonna be a medicine check.
Yeah, I don't have that.
I'm gonna up it a bit because you're doing terrible things to yourself right now.
I don't want people near me as I do this.
Target number 13.
Oh boy, that's not gonna go
medicine
well.
is also an intellect check.
Well, y'all, it was fun here on Ink and Lyre. It's gonna be a negative
It'll be
3 to
fine.
whatever you flip, Zack.
It is. I'm looking up how to do doctor checks, but so you're gonna get a 2 of books.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
-1.
Frey, you're trying to take care of yourself. You said you went outside. You don't want to be around people.
Just in the bar as far as I can, away from everybody. So just kind of sitting in a corner.
Those of you, especially with medical checks, who are watching, it is horrifying what this guy does, because he is taking these burning hot prongs and essentially failing miserably at getting the bullet and making like small craters of cauterized seared flesh. Those bullets are just like kind of in him now. He is It is the smell of burning meat. There is like this dark black blood that is beginning to sort of like sizzle and boil as he's just like putting it in, and no bullets come out, and it's horrifying. It's like self mutilation at this point. This is a big dude, doesn't go unconscious, but it's a little disturbing.
Yeah,
Go ahead, sorry.
We're both standing next to each other watching this, so go for it.
Maeve is just gonna be like, and just stand up and walk over to Frey and be like, all right, okay, you know what? They're in there now. Stop that.
Okay, yep, that was a bad idea. I chucked the tongs down.
Just cauterized.
They live inside you now. Let's get some whiskey on it.
Yep.
Come on,
appreciate it.
back to the table. Let's go.
Now alone at the bar with the person that we're meant to persuade.
Give me
Her
a
negative
target.
charisma is gonna lean against the bar.
Give me a target number 8 notice check, Nemo.
Oh, great. I was gonna ask Zack to flip it for me, but I don't have to. Okay. Oh yeah, that's where is our Discord?
Right here.
Okay,
Here.
is a 17 of
Hey.
Rams.
Sue's
And
gone.
we all
Cool. That's a positive. Nemo is not particularly concerned. He just left the bar, right? We weren't expecting him to do anything else.
You never saw him leave. He's gone. I don't know. He must have
Nemo
walked out when
in
you
her
were
head
looking.
goes demons, and then is gonna lean against the bar and say, "So,
Yep.
you have any brandy?"
You will not drink?
Does it matter?
No, I just thought I'd ask.
And I am, so
I honestly don't care.
good. So brandy, yes or no?
He looks under, he pulls out what looks like, kind of familiar to you. It's like a big hooch jug, but it's clear. But it's not filled with clear liquid. And he kind of sloshes it around. There's like maybe like 10%, just like a little puddle in the bottom. And he goes, I think this might be brandy.
It's unfortunately not the quality that I'm used to. Have
He
you ever
leans
had-
down, pulls out another glass bottle. This one smaller, flask size, half full. And he says, I took this off a dead man named Brandy. Does that count?
I like it, but no. Have you ever had a good brandy, Mr. whatever your name is?
Joe.
Joe, Mr. Joe.
You got a bit of a strange accent and an attitude about you, don't you?
I'm gonna take 2 of the 3 full bottles of brandy that I have left, because I had one more than I thought I did. Both hands, put it on the bar. Would you like to have a drink with me, Joe?
He stares you right back, puts both his hands on the bar, and says, I don't like you, but I like alcohol, and you're speaking my language, kid.
Glad to see we're mutually fluent. Right.
There's a staring contest. His eyes don't leave you as he pulls out 2 shot glasses and puts them on the bar. I assume you want something if you're trying to bribe me.
How's the town been? You know, with Mayor What's-His-Face. You know, Workman. Funny name for a mayor. Mayors don't work a day in their life, right?
Roll a either convince or carouse check.
I don't have either of those. What are they based on?
He loves liquor, so I'm gonna
No,
say.
I mean, tenacity.
Carouse is based on resilience, and convince is based on intellect.
Okay, so 0 either way.
It's gonna be a target number 6 because he does like what you're selling. It's real low.
I got a 9 of crows. Oh, did we shuffle the deck?
we did shuffle the deck. Everyone gets another
Yeah,
card.
I got
Hey, everyone, draw a card.
my twist cards are all below 4 right now, all of them. Right. So I got a 9 of crows.
He waits for you to fill up the glass.
Nope, I'm not
Doesn't
filling it until he answers the question. I'm just holding the bottles on the counter.
He goes, well, it's hard to say with my lips being so chapped.
I don't know, I think one question is one shot.
As any good businessman, payment before purchase.
I'll put one bottle away and uncork. Do you uncork a brandy bottle? I will open the brandy bottle.
Yeah, we'll say they're corked. You just,
and I
you know,
will pour him a single shot and then return the bottle to my lap. I'm not putting it away, but I'm holding it.
he takes it, knocks it back. I hate to say it, makes it feel like what I serve in here is piss water.
Oh, that's because it is.
No argument there. The mayor's a selfish bastard. Everyone loved Rishu. Hell, there were a few late nights where some of the miners were drinking, and they kept saying he should run for mayor. There is, after all, an upcoming election in 3 months. You want to know what happened to Rishu? That's something that's worth looking into. But then again, there are a few other people who could be just as guilty. And he pulls out 4 more shot glasses and says, I hate drinking it in terrible company. And he looks over to your friends.
Who are currently, like, bleeding out on the other side of the bar, right?
They're kind of getting it under
shot.
control. Yeah.
Tobias is at this point done with his whiskey and is looking around for more because he's in terrible pain, and he's gonna start to get up and hobble over. Nemo, you're sharing already. It's
Okay, sit down. Sit down.
Yeah, I'm
Sit down.
nice and steady now.
Okay, oh my god. I'm gonna
Maeve looks.
I'm gonna pour Tobias a shot and just hand it to him.
So I want to pause for a second out of character. Notes are going to be very important in this game. This stuff that I'm telling you guys about, where he's talking about the mayor and everyone loved Narishu, we are essentially entering into a phase of something I've never done before, which is murder mystery-esque. You have to find out who killed Rishu, right? So keeping notes on what are the names of these people, what is their motive, this is all going to be fairly important. I want to give you guys a heads up before we get too far into this.
Thank you.
I'm gonna pour a shot for everyone in the party and make a non-committal but judgmental head motion, and people may move over as they may.
Maeve is going to look at Ellie and Frey and be like, shall we? Do you think?
Oh, why the
You okay? Yeah, you pour everyone a shot. You guys, I assume you all hit the bar.
Yes.
As Ellie walks with Frey and Maeve, Ellie's watching the entire Frey situation, of watching both Maeve's reaction to it as well. Stop, they're in you now. Just it's too late. Ellie is just sort of watching a little aghast from a distance, and then eventually it comes over, and then the drinks are poured. But Ellie will just turn to Frey and say, "If you ever want to be taught how to pull those out without leaving them inside, let me know."
Sure will, and I sure do appreciate it. Thank you. He shamefully kind of just drinks his whiskey. Little embarrassed that he messed up that bad.
There's a lot going on.
The Honourable Mr. Joe, in exchange for a single shot, has just shared with us, and I share the thing about the mayor and the election. I'm thinking a shot is a question, so if there's anything you all would like to ask, guns away.
Anybody dislike Rishu? Vocally?
Possible. For the most part, he was loved by miners, but as far as what happened to him when he died, there could be a few people that were responsible. And he looks to you, Frey, and he says, I can tell you, but you're not going to like it.
Here, brother.
He knocks it back and says, well, the kid was skulking around Madame Odette's for a while. And you know how protective Madame Odette is of her family. Frey, you are very familiar with Madame Odette.
Okay.
Madame Odette runs the brothel. But at the same time, Madame Odette is very, very hospitable to newcomers. When you first rolled into town, it's always Madame Odette. She's the one that, like, takes you in, gives you a place to stay until you get on your feet, helps you find a job, helps you, find a place, like, within the city. She's very, very motherly.
Okay.
And so, like, you had a room there for some time until you finally got on your own feet and found a place to stay. She's a very sweet woman, and, like, universally, everyone in the town is very respectful and kind of, like, loving to the madam and her. This is a town where there is the brothel, but, like, you never have that problem of people getting drunk and doing things and like everyone's like super respected because the madam is always, she's there. Like almost everyone has a tie to the madam.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so essentially Joe Cooper talks about that he was kind of skulking around. It was seemed a little shady. There's a good chance that the madam or someone that the madam talked to might have killed him for that. Especially if he was doing something unsavory. No one would hesitate to put a bullet in his head for that.
Okay.
Are the miners still working in the town, or in the mines, or did the guild kick them out?
A lot of them are drinking a lot. Good for business. But they ain't working. The money's running dry. A lot of them aren't paying their tabs, if you know what I'm saying.
So any of them might have been mad at Reshu for drying up their job.
I don't know about that. They were talking about how he should run for mayor.
So the problem is we've got to figure out who ratted on Rishu.
Definitely. It's definitely either the madam, the mayor. I mean, he doesn't really like competition. And we had an election year. Or, the other person.
Sounds
Pour
like
him
another shot.
He looks expectantly to Nemo. Nemo, this is going to finish off one of your bottles.
After 3 shots? Jesus. Okay.
That's for all of us too.
I'll finish.
Yeah,
I'll
you're
finish off the
giving
bottle.
shots to everyone now.
Everyone gets a singular shot except for him. No. Okay, I'll give everyone shots.
My leg is hurting here. I need more shots.
Yeah, alright. Okay, yeah, fine. Where's my inventory? Oh no.
Oh no.
I only have 2.5 bottles of brandy left.
Only 2.5!
My God.
What is
It'll
this
never
world
keep-
coming to?
Yeah, I pour him another shot and I just look him in the eye. He didn't finish his sentence.
Well, I can tell you right now, you spent a lot of time with that quack, Dr. Lee. They were always together. I suspect with how often he snuck off in the night once he finished drinking here, might even been a little romantically involved. And especially with how much time he was spending down at Madame Odette's. Well, you know how the heart gets when it comes to jealousy.
Interesting. Thank you for the information, Joe.
Paid in full. Thank you for the whiskey, Miss.
I have
Any-
another question, actually. Do you know the number and rank of the redcoats here? Are there grave marshals, death marshals within their rank, or just regular guys?
Anyone who's trying to go back to the mines was quickly sent away. I don't know. Miners don't know. They're not exactly operating a tourist attraction at the moment.
So you didn't see the people come in then? You don't have, eyes.
Bloodcoats ain't welcome here. They stay out in their camp. We don't let them in town. We want nothing to do with them scum.
Understandable, but inconvenient. Alright, thank you, Joe.
Tobias hasn't seen any death marshals, right? Or I mean, he's been down in the mines, but he hasn't seen any.
No. All you've seen are soldiers.
But he can't be sure.
Well, I think if we talk to the doctor, we could maybe also figure out where he was buried. I mean, he's a gunner, so I mean, how useful is that? But if they had a sort of ceremonial, or if they just dumped him in a pit, that says something, doesn't it?
If everyone loved him, they must have had a ceremony.
I mean, the implication is that the doctor and he were, bumping uglies, so she might be especially invested in what happened to his body.
That's the best term I've ever heard. Bumping undies.
Ugly!
Uglies!
I thought you said undies. I was like, that's so good.
Undies work too.
What? What'd you do over the weekend? I was bumping undies.
But Tobias, what I'm proposing is that I think you should lie there on her hospital table, holding your weak leg in one arm and say, "Oh, doctor, have you ever been in love?" And then she'll tell you everything.
It's possible.
Maybe she got that Florence Nightingale effect. We'll see what I can weasel out of. It'll be beautiful.
All right.
All right.
Well, you do seem like the one who knows how to talk.
Talking's what I do best. I positively got a degree in talking. Let's go see this doctor.
All right, you guys head out of the tavern, just push open the swinging doors. When you walk outside, you see, kind of hobbling down the street and making his way towards the saloon, a pudgy man. He has suspenders, sort of a straw hat, no coat. His gray shirt has sweat stains. He has a 6-shooter at his side, and strapped to the suspenders is the classic gold star of authority. Frey, you immediately recognize this as the sheriff. He steps up and says, Well, new folks, huh? I hope you're all minding your manners. I wouldn't have to shoot you down." And when he does that, he tries to draw the gun and it fumbles and it just plops into the sand. He's like, "Oh, don't mind me. Just, buttery fingers every now and then. Had some biscuits for breakfast," and picks it up.
Aw, Sheriff, I thought we were working on your draw, man. You're getting there.
Frey, you are very familiar with the sociology of the sheriff. So this town is mainly made up of badasses and criminals trying to start a new life. For a while, Innocence kept having gunslingers as sheriffs, but they were kind of assholes and they would get into trouble and they would be shot. So this butterball ended up being sheriff because he's really nice.
Yeah.
And no one takes him seriously. And kind of almost similar to Odette's, if you pick on the sheriff, everyone here is
you're just an
such
asshole,
yeah, it's you fucked with the sheriff? And it's like, all right, guys, we got to go mess with this guy who the sheriff never seems to pick up on this, but he like has a modicum of power now because if you're getting rowdy and you're drinking too much, people are going to listen to him, because if you don't and you pick on him, then the next morning, like 7 guys are going to show up at your house and drag you out and beat the crap out of you. So you're familiar with the sheriff. That's kind of how he is. So yes, working on the draw, he's like, well, I tried for a while. I thought I was left-handed, but I think I'm right-handed.
Oh shit! All right, well we'll have to work on that right-handed draw sometime.
All right, mind your manners. There's blood coats around here, and they come too close, I'm gonna put them down. I got 6 shots. I can kill 12 men with that.
Of course you will, and don't worry, my friends here. They are good people. They're good company, and I need them around. So we'll mind our own. Don't you worry.
He's just like, ma'am, mister, ma'am, and just one by one. Boop, 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 boop.
Sheriff, I got a question real fast if you don't mind.
Hey, new face, identify yourself. Are you a guild member?
No, I'm not a guild member.
That's what I like to hear.
Yeah, the guild, they're no good. We can agree on, right?
Preaching to the choir.
Mm-hmm. How? I hear there was a murder in town, or an untimely death, if you don't mind.
Well, I mean, population's dropping all the time. We got murders going left and right around here, Which one are you talking about? Was it a family member? If so, I'm truly sorry for your loss.
He was a family member, yes. My good
Moment of silence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
Silence not done. Silence not done.
Sorry. Be more respectful of the dead.
Thank you. We gotta start over now because you talked.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you were saying?
Jesus.
My brother Reshu, my brother. He's I was wondering if you had any if he had any a will or anything. If he was I'm trying to settle his affairs and everything if he came to town.
Rishu.
Chetty.
Rishu.
My brother Reshu Chetty. I'm Tobias Chetty, but
I gotta say, not ringing any bells. I can head down to the jail cell, maybe get back to you, maybe check with the coroner or something.
that'd be great.
For sure, yeah. I mean, we got to get that sorted out, especially if you left your money. There's not a lot of money.
If you left him, maybe I gotta know where he's buried. Maybe I can pay my respects for real this time. Say a prayer over his remains. Things like that.
Really more of a, if there's a family heirloom or something like that. I don't think he's after the money, right, Tobias?
Of course not.
It's a matter of honor.
Exactly. Honor. I just want to know that was taken care of.
Respecting the dead. I can get behind that. Get behind that. I'm all about that. Yeah, I'll look it up for you. I'll get back to you. I'll leave a message at the saloon.
Thank you so much. It means so much to me.
Yeah, of course. Frey, keep an eye on these ones, huh? You have any trouble, you let me know. I got your back.
I do an imaginary draw. You got it.
Hey! Oh, you got me that time. Next time, though, I'm watching you.
Keep you on your toes, brother.
And he kind of waddles up into the saloon. Okay, so before we take off too far and get into this mystery, right? You guys have a few people to check with. You have Dr. Agatha Lee, Mayor Lewis Workman, and Madame Odette. We'll sort all that out, try to unravel the mystery of who killed Rishu. We're going to take a break. So, oh man, I dropped the ball again because I should have gave them a warning. I mean, I gave them a warning like 30 minutes ago, and then we didn't do it, so I probably messed up a little bit there.
We're going to go to break quick. Be right back. All right?
Nice!
Crushed it.
All right, let's get right back into it. So, sorry, I didn't want everyone to hear me cough. You guys begin to make your way to the first of 3 people that you're going to kind of interact with and investigate. the docks, which makes sense because Tobias is hurting. He's not in the best place. You find the doctors, which there's sort of a sign that's cut in half, where half of it is on the floor, which is LO, but the other half is still hanging, which is CK, and a DO has been put in front of it. So it says docks, but Frey, you've been here long enough to know that that is the doctor's office.
Mhm.
The windows are all boarded up. This is common. This is nothing new. Like, there's kind of an alley that goes around the back, and the door is currently shut.
I guess this is me. Time to put on the charms. And he's gonna hobble up to the doctor's door and knock on it and try the knob. Doc, it's serious.
The door, you hear like a as a series of locks are being opened, and the door slightly cracks open. You see a woman with spectacles that seem to have a hard time staying on like her small button nose. She has straight hair, but like the back is kind of unkept and sort of sticking out, and she creaks it open, looks you up and down, looks at everyone else, and says, "Are you injured?"
Yeah, Doc, my leg's not doing so good. It's as you can kind of tell, it's a little wet from whiskey, but it's wetter from the blood.
She looks down. "You can come in. They stay outside. For them, we're closed."
You heard the doctor, boys. That's closed for you guys. Us injured folk only. And he's gonna hobble inside. Wait for her to undo the door.
She cracks it just enough for you to come in. Immediately, the second you're inside, the door slams behind you.
We have
And-
another one who got shot.
Frey's gonna look at his chest and just put the duster back over and be like, "Nah, it's not worth it."
You have bullets inside your rib cage right now.
She can handle one patient at a time.
One at a time. We're closed. Go away.
You heard the lady.
Oh, Tobias doesn't have money to pay for this. Cross the bridge when we get to it. He's not going to tell her that. No. But inside, Doc, can you take a look at my leg? It's he's gonna kind of roll up the pant leg. I had a bit of an accident in the mines, if you can believe it.
Inside the building, it is very dim lit. There are a few gas lanterns hanging. There are different rooms that go farther out. There is an operating table. There are many shelves. And you are not medically trained, but you can recognize that the jars are filled with different organs. Like there's even a big jar that has sort of a head in liquid. There is the operating table in the center that is made out of wood that is stained with blood, and she kind of looks around and says, yes, please lay down on the table and we shall start medical procedure if you do not mind. And she's constantly like scratching the back of her hair, which just causes like almost like a static where like it's making it stick up even more.
Whatever you say, you know best, Doc. And he's gonna hobble over to the table and, lie down. He's gonna say, I knew a doc once. He's well, I'm sure you're much more classically trained than he was. He was a bit of a character.
Your body is racked in pain as she takes her two fingers and dips it into your wound and kind of pulls it open.
Yeah, it's best to start the procedure fast,
You Yes, yes. Wound is unclean. Possible chance of infection. 75%. Bacteria is spreading. Is a chance of amputation if medical procedure does not go according to plan. Are you attached to this leg?
I'm pretty attached to this leg, yeah, I would say.
If things go bad, you will not be for much longer. Do not worry.
Well, good thing we got the best doc in town, huh?
Not the best, she says as she's like opening drawers and like pulling out like a bone saw and just like putting it to the side just in case, and says, not the best, just the only. Meanwhile, sorry, go ahead. I'll let you get your sentences, Toby, before we cut back to the others.
You got the best operating room I've ever seen. It looks positively comforting in here.
Filthy, unclean, not ideal conditions, but one must make do with what one has. Outside, how you guys doing? Are you waiting outside? You doing anything? Toby's inside about to get some medical attention. What are you guys doing?
So,
Go ahead.
how long have you two known each other?
Well, just before we went into the mine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Real quick,
I have a bit of an observation now. If she's distracted right now, that means we could have a look around.
As soon as Ellie started making small talk, Nemo was gone. She is looking for an open window of some kind. Can I try to find like a cellar door, an open window, a back room? If I have to scale a wall, I will.
Sure. So this conversation starts, and especially I'll say Ellie, like, because you have hung out with Nemo for so long, you look around, you notice she's gone, and this is normal. You're just like, well, Nemo's gone.
Yeah, Ellie will. As soon as you say that, Meave, Ellie will look around and then just be like, "I think Nemo's ahead of us on that one. It's a good idea, though. We should go look around."
Yeah, you both, now you guys notice, you're like, yeah, Nemo's gone. Nemo, you quickly, nimbly, it's a little difficult to move because you're not used to wearing a dress, but like you get the hang of it. You hike up your skirt a little bit, right? And you're, pulling it up just to the knees and just like moving along quickly and silently. You do find some windows around the back of the building that are locked. They are closed and there are curtains drawn in front of them. But with a target number 7, you feel you can lockpick them with a lockpicking check.
Okay, as I go in to start lockpicking, I'm gonna, if I can see Ellie's head or anyone, if I can see somebody, I want to throw a piece of gravel at their head to get them to come over to where I am.
It's a small building. Like, they look around, they don't notice you, but you're kind of at the back, and like you peek around, and again, alley's not very long, small building. It's midday, but you can like kind of peek around and see them, and you can easily throw a rock to get their attention to come back here if you need be.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I beat Meave in the back of the head with just a little piece of gravel. The heads up motion.
Meave.
Oh.
Plink!
Yeah, and it, oh. Let's go. On the way around, Meave would also kind of want to see if there's a back garden, like a backyard or anything where there might be, suspicious nonsense.
There's no garden. Being kind of like at the classic small western boomtown, all the buildings are somewhat close together. They each have their own individual alleyway, I guess, because there's that little spacing. But no one really has backyards. It's just dirt. It's miles and miles of dirt.
So both nowhere to hide a body and everywhere to hide a body.
I'll say you guys have noticed that there is like a cemetery at some point. Just simple wooden fences, classic like wooden crosses, because there's not a lot of stone out here that they mine. You have seen a graveyard. It is not close to the doctor's office.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you. Yeah, so Maeve's just gonna head over to where Nemo is.
Yeah.
All right.
when you arrive, you see Nemo has a very expensive, shiny black set of lockpicks in a beautiful black leather case, and she's just, I got a 12 of masks on my lockpicking check to get this thing open.
You take out your lockpicks. Being experienced in this isn't going to work because there's not really a lock. It's sort of clasped from the inside. So you put your lockpicks
Stick a
back.
file in.
You pulled out like a small knife and just managed to wedge the window up just enough to slip the blade in and fiddle a little bit. Click. You unhook it and quietly shift it up. Push apart the curtains. Inside, you see shelves with organs, more organs, so many organs in here, all in like a yellowish liquid, sort of hard to make out because it's foggy. There are 3 tables, each with a body, a blanket pulled over the body. The feet are facing towards you, and you can see that there is a tag on each toe.
How are you with dead people?
Who are you talking to?
Yeah, who are
talking
you
to
asking?
I mean, I know Meeve's with me. I don't know if the other two are with me or not.
Meave will say, with dead people. Well, fine. You'll find I'm very good with dead people.
Excellent. You get to go in first. You can be quiet, right?
I can try. And I will make a whatever check I need to a stealth, I presume.
Do a target number 8 stealth check, but you're going to have advantage because the doctor is distracted. Because the doctor does not have very good bedside manners and is prying into this wound, and Toby is screaming.
Stealth is grace, correct?
Stealth is cunning.
Yes.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
gonna follow in directly after them, so I'm gonna draw as well.
Okay, I got a 5, so but I'm gonna pull my. Oh, and then I got a 3, so 5, 6, 7. Wait, no, sorry, I'm adding the wrong thing. 4. I got a 4.
I drew a 7, so I got a 13 of tomes. Is there any way my 13 can prevent the 4 from running into these jars of organs?
Nope.
I am screaming after all.
I could cheat it though. I
Do you
probably
want
should.
to?
I think I'm going to. All right, so I've got ooh, it's still only an 8 of tomes, but it's...
Meat beats.
Okay, brilliant. And
So-
that is what I'm doing.
You climb in, Meave. When you do, the window is old. It's loose. There's no catch to it. So, like, it's lifted up. Nemo lifts it up. You start to slip in. Immediately, the vibrations cause it to just, like, come straight down towards you. But through a bit of fate and luck, right before it crashes with a loud slam, like, onto your neck, you grab it, having, like, some old memories of when you were like diving into old tombs, and you always got to be aware for traps. So you're like, oh! You're on your toes.
All
you
right.
make your way in, barely avoiding that. Nemo right behind you. Can I get? You look around. You see body parts, and alarm bells are going off in your head. Can I get a target number 8 necromancy check?
Yes, that I can do.
Can I assist?
Are you trained in necromancy?
Technically, no.
Oops,
Then you
I just said it
but-
down.
Okay.
I have a total of 15.
You look around. The only light in this dark room comes from the window behind you. You're looking at all the organs, and it's hard to make them out because they're in that, that foggy liquid. But you begin to notice 2 things. One, they are not human. Many of them are animalistic organs that can be used in necromantic rituals. On top of that, what catches your attention one of the toes has a tag that says Jonda Chetty.
Okay, yeah. So,
Not the person you're looking for, but the last name is the same.
Oh no, I think at least on my screen, CJ froze.
Yeah.
We'll cut back. Meanwhile, Frey and Ellie, what's going on? Like at this point, you guys notice that Meave kind of goes down the alley. You both know where where Nemo went and whatnot. Are you guys talking? Are you following? What's going on?
Additional arm wrestling.
Oh, definitely. That's like, no, we're just shooting the shit.
We're both just standing outside, looking at one another.
Sizing each other up.
So how many bullets you have in you?
Lose count after a while, but from the most recent encounter, probably about 4.
Can I see?
Sure. I pull back
Cool.
the shirt and the duster.
I started inspecting Frey for all the various wounds.
Frey is quite tall. I think we said you were like at like 7'2" or something.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah. Built like a shit brick house. Like Frey opens the shirt and it's just like some freaking Mr. Universe just ripped. You can see the fresh wounds. You can see old wounds that have sort of naturally healed, probably where the bullets were taken out. Frey's been through a lot. The strangest thing is occasionally, like kind of around the neck or some of the wounds, you see veins, but they're like deep, inky black, profusely black.
Never seen anybody with black blood before.
Get a lot of iron in my diet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna need to flip a deceive.
Who's got that?
Get into
Not me.
Tabletop right now.
I cannot.
Well,
So
Ooh.
deceive is cunning. For you, it'll be insight, Ellie.
is that
Insight.
Ellie just stares at you? You can tell that she's discerning as an individual. As you look at her, there's like a sense of, I'm meeting you for the first time today. We'll see how this is going to shake out, right? But at the same time, you also watch just the sense of like her just looking at you, and then it kind of like a switch, and she just is like, okay, yeah, a lot of iron in the blood, sure.
Light look of shock. Yeah, absolutely. So, how long have you known Tobias?
Oh, yeah, I'd say maybe a month, a little over.
Still wonder what's so special about him. Why Sue sent me down to go get him? I still don't know.
Yep. I wonder why he's special too.
You guys are so nice to me.
Meanwhile,
That's us. We're just two like terrifying individuals just sort of sitting outside the door, just chatting.
good spot to end that conversation. Tobias, you are in an incredible amount of pain as this doctor is narrating the chances of amputation and everything. The doctor kind of goes over to like a cabinet, opens it up. There's like slacks and shirts in it. She just pulls out a few belts and begins to kind of loop them together and says, "This is going to be incredibly painful. I'm going to need to strap your leg down. It'll help with the surgery if you do not move." which you will want to do because it's going to be incredibly painful. Do you consent?
I mean, Doc, don't you have any like anesthetic or anything? Or I know I'm not much of a the medical sort, but I know that's normally a thing that happens, right?
She goes over to the dresser, pulls out a few drawers, and pulls out like a small glass flask and says, "From the bar. The saloon owner is quite interested in putting in different types of drugs to null pain and make one lose one's mind when one is about to experience suffering."
Okay. I guess if it'll, in your professional opinion, Doc, will it ease the suffering?
It won't hurt. It'll hurt far less, but you will not be able to see color for the next 2 days.
Color's overrated. Wear
Yes.
Malifaux.
Drink the whole thing. Gulp, gulp,
Cheers,
gulp.
Doc.
You are chugging what tastes like straight whiskey at this point. Just gulp, 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 gulp. But
Whiskey's not bad.
Yeah,
I've been drinking whiskey for the past few hours, you know. I've
nice
had worse
burn.
things.
Nice burn. Chugging
Good
whiskey. Little bit of a burp afterwards. Immediately, just everything shifts to black and white. You feel sort of a dull haze come over you. You look up at the doctor, and the doctor says, "Can you feel this?" And just Charlie horses you right into the wound, and you feel nothing.
Doc, you must be a dainty little thing. I didn't feel nothing.
Excellent. Restraints are no longer necessary. Stay still.
I'll be still. I'll be super still for you, Doc. Whatever you want, I'll do it.
Subject becomes flirtatious under copious amounts of alcohol. Duly noted. Meanwhile,
that won't know alcohol.
Meanwhile, we cut back to Neve and Nemo. Neve, so you found the corpse with the tag on it. You saw the bottles. What would you like to do?
Yeah, Maeve is going to turn to Nemo and say, "There's something going on here, and I can't say what. I don't want to jump to conclusions, but most of these things in these bottles aren't human. They're used for necromancy and such. And this one, this cadaver right here, it says John de Chedi, which presumably is related to Rishu."
When you first start talking to Nemo, she is like looking up at the ceiling, especially if there were any sounds from Tobias upstairs. She seems very distracted. But when you get to talk about necromancy and Jonda, she's going to turn to you. Necromancy?
Necromancy, yeah. I mean, maybe she's just studying these things for medical reasons, but it rings some alarm bells for me, to say the least.
Right, that's fair. Okay. I'm going to walk over to the corpse that says John DeReady on the toe, and I'm just going to take the whole sheet off. No respect whatsoever for the dead, just... Can I see that face?
You take the whole sheet off, right?
Just off the face. I'm not going to like whoosh like a magic trick. I just want to see who it is.
You pull it back. It is a older man, probably in his early 40s, black facial hair, sort of like a tan copper-esque skin, eyes closed. Can I get a target number 12 notice check from you?
From both of us or just me?
Just from you.
No! I got a 5! I got a 1 plus 4, I believe. Yeah, so it's a 5.
That's fine. You pull it back. Yeah, that's what you see.
Right. The face doesn't mean anything to me. I was hoping... I mean, it would be nice, right, if it had, like, the face of a pig or something, so we would know, like, oh, that's what the organs are for.
Right, that would have been an easy answer anyway. I think maybe we should figure out if Rishu had any known relatives in the town and what became of them. It's a little bit odd that it wasn't mentioned.
I mean, at least according to the sheriff, people die all the time.
I guess so. Couple in a family usually. Well, I can't say it rings alarm bells, but last I knew there wasn't a plague going around here, so
Do you need help? getting back down to
concerning.
business? Or you
Concerning.
do it yourself.
I think I'm just gonna have a quick look at the other corpses just to see. And Maeve is gonna kind of lift the other covers just to see if there's anything that stands out to them.
They're indiscernible. You pull them back. They're like one's a man, one's a woman. There's names on the toes that don't really catch your attention. There's all the shelves. There's like a small desk in the corner, but that's kind of everything in the room.
Okay. Maeve's just gonna make a mental note about everything they've seen and kind of try to get back through the window.
If there's a desk in that corner, fully going through, rooting through all of her shit, like drawers, anything like that.
The
Bunnies.
drawers are locked. Can I get a target number 10 lockpicking check?
Ooh.
Yes, you can. I have advantage. Oh my god.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
I got the Black Joker again! Woo! I told you guys as soon as I was back, I would definitely get the Black Joker.
You are starting to pick the lock. You have a moment where you think you got it, and you pull quickly, excited, like, oh, I got it. And there's just a slam as wood hits wood. Meanwhile, Tobias, back in your room, the doctor is midway stitching up. You hear the slam. You see the doctor lifts their head and says,
Doc, did wait, I gotta tell you something. It's been on my mind since I got here. I've been waiting. I've been looking for someone like you all my life.
give me a target number 12 bewitch with disadvantage.
Disadvantage? Okay.
Disadvantage. You flip the
Good thing.
Black Joker. The doctor is looking to the room that she heard the clatter from and is very focused on going towards it
Okay, target number 12.
with disadvantage. So you
Let me
can't cheat it.
Let me just fucking get two 13s in a row.
Damn.
She's got a twink on the table. She cannot be distracted.
I'm not saying nothing, but I'm pretty sexy. So
She's
Doc.
got a thing for patients who are drugged out of their minds.
yeah, it's not creepy at all, but
She looks. She hears the clatter. She looks at the door, is about to leave. You say your speech. She pauses, looks at you, looks at the door. Target is mildly handsome and adorable, and goes back to stitching up your leg.
mildly. Did I ever tell you how mildly attractive and adorable you were, Doc? Because it's if I weren't on drugs right now, I'd be doing something else.
This is interesting and flattering, but I do not feel that you can give appropriate consent. Please shut up now. And she goes over and pulls out like a leather cord and says, otherwise I will have to gag you. This is not good for professional situations. If we were to meet at the saloon, I will gag you.
I mean, I'll be at the saloon with my mouth wide open.
She gags you, just like mid-sentence, like, As much as I enjoy the flirtation of the patient, I cannot in good conscience continue this conversation. Patient has been gagged. And goes back to working on your leg.
Okay.
You guys are in the clear. There's that slam. You wait for a moment.
Oh, I don't. If I hear the slam, I'm not waiting for a second. I'm going go 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 go
You
go.
get out of dodge.
Sprinting out. Yeah, like a rat that's been found. I'm just like skittering up the wall and crawling out the window.
Like, get the hell out of there. Yeah. So Maeve would be quickly behind as well.
You guys scatter out. We'll say a few moments go by. Eventually, the door will creak open, and Tobias, drunk and heavily medicated, is just kind of shoved out, and the door quickly shuts behind him and is locked with several different locks.
Am I still
Wait.
gagged?
Yeah.
Just trying to talk to everyone, Ellie and Frey. And
As you stumble out, there is a big ornate drawing of a tank that was on the dirt in the ground, and you just sort of shuffle through it, and both Ellie and Frey are just like,
Oh god
oh,
damn it.
God.
as you turn around,
Nemo's gonna
What in
busy
the
herself
hell happened to
ungagging
you?
him.
Yeah. Maeve would make sure that everything in the back looks like the way they left it, like the window closed and that, and then come around and join them as well, and is very entertained. A little bit of Schadenfreude.
I
Did
thought you
find
guys.
out?
You go ahead.
Did you find out what happened? Is this person on our suspect list?
I can't untie it if you keep moving, Tobias. You're gonna have to stand still. Okay, got it. I get it off.
That was the best surgery I've ever had in my life. When did you guys get so gray? You guys look great.
Oh.
Hmm.
Well, Nemo and I found things.
Okay. Yeah, what'd you
What do you
find?
got?
Come here, Toby. And I grab Toby, and then I move Toby to Frey.
Come here, Toby.
Come here, Frey. And he's gonna just go, bring it in, bring it in. My best friends.
We'll talk later, brother. Yeah.
What you got?
Eve understands it better than I do.
Why
Why don't we walk away from this building as we talk about it?
I think that's a brilliant idea.
Can Tobias walk? Or is this another hoist situation?
I'm feeling 100% better. I just got surgery on my
Yeah.
leg, and it's still there. I
Yeah.
think you have to double check a few times, but
You can walk, buddy. I put my arm like under his arms and kind of just lift him. So he's not like he's dragging his feet, but he thinks he's walking.
I'm a walking champ. I've been walking since the day I was born.
Yeah, you have.
So when they're a safe distance away, Maeve, in a quiet tone, is going to say, well, I can't be sure, but there were jars of many organs, and a lot of them weren't human. Animal, things like that. Things that are used in necromancy. But it could just be that she's studying them for medical purposes. I can't be sure. But it's still concerning. And there was a body. Well, there were several bodies, but there was a body whose tag said John Duchetti. So perhaps a relation of Rishu, and I think it's something to at least consider because it might be linked in some sort of way.
John Duchetti, was it a man or woman?
The beard, so
Yeah, it was a
as
minute.
far as I could tell, it was a man.
Presumably an older gentleman, right?
I have another brother?
Probably
Or a father?
John Duchetti and Reshu Chetty? Oh my god, it's gonna be a family reunion!
Right, I still have the gag. Frey, I actually have a question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm gonna wheel around on him, coming up to just under his pecs, but looking up very upfront. You live here, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So are you familiar with the man who was to be mayor and his father, uncle, brother-in-law, or whatever we found down there?
Almighty GM. Am I familiar?
So you are not familiar that Rishu, I think I said Rishu. Rishu?
Yeah.
Rishu.
Rishu had a brother. You have had a few times where you roll up late at night into the saloon and they're talking and they're laughing. Just kind of being like, "Oh, Rishu, dude, you should be mayor, right? Like you're so good in the mines." And like it's drunk talk. There were like you've never seen any serious things happen from it, but you've overheard that conversation probably 2 or 3 times in the saloon.
I know of the man. I didn't know he had any kin. And I know of the current mayor, but beyond that, I don't know the man personally, really.
Nemo stares at you, like deep into your eyes for a couple seconds. Okay.
You make me wildly uncomfortable, little lady.
Well, you're very big. I'm thinking that Tobias shouldn't go meet the mayor right this second, being as he is.
I'll look at him. He's fine.
I'm friendly. You saying I don't like people?
I think you love
Nemo?
people, and wouldn't you love to go meet Madame Odette and all her lovely family members?
Yeah, maybe there'll be more chetties down there and I'll have an even bigger family.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. How long do these drugs last?
36 hours.
It'll be a bad day.
Okay. You guys are in for a treat.
Likely, we're gonna have to come back to speak with Agatha again. We got a good lead on it though, so we can circle back once we get a little bit more information. Frey, do you have any reason to believe that the sheriff could be involved in any way?
Absolutely not. The man, he couldn't hurt a fly. And he's tried to hurt a fly. I've watched him do it. It doesn't work out. He definitely thinks he's a competent sheriff because we let him think it. He's a good man. He wouldn't hurt anybody.
Okay. Well, to the brothel. Drag Toby with us for this one.
From what Joe said, Nemo fully is taking like a notebook out of another pocket in her skirt. She has literally been writing things down the whole time. According to what Mr. Joe said, she also like houses the people who are new to town, right? So probably we can sleep there. He can sleep it off.
100%. She will absolutely house you, but do not cause trouble. This entire town will turn on you the second you do.
Okay.
Trouble? Who's trouble? Not us. We're the good guys.
Nah, you
We're
big
the
guy.
Arcanists. We're the good guys.
All right.
Posing a thought here for a second, Frey, some opinion on this. Is there any reason that there should be guild members also staying at the brothel?
Brent, as far as I know, I don't think they'd be staying there. The town doesn't really let the guild in as often as possible.
Yeah, this town universally just despises the guild. Okay. That is the reason
Absolutely
that
not.
there are all those camps out there, because they are not welcomed here.
Yeah. There's a reason we all got guns here.
All right.
Okay. You guys make your way to Madame Odette's. It is, other than the manor, the only 2-story building in town. It looks simple on the outside, but you walk in, and Frey, you can, there's a sense of home. It is filled with the smell of perfume. There's like a shirtless man in suspenders, sort of playing like a ragtime piano in the corner. All of the floor has like these long carpets laid out that are used. They were probably fine once, but now they're kind of like worn and weathered. The air isn't as happy as it normally is. There's a lot of patrons who are sitting at different tables with different workers, but you can kind of pick up the conversation here and there where it's just folks that are down in their luck, miners, and they're talking. They're talking with the workers, and they're like, don't worry, it's gonna be all right. We're gonna get the guild out of here. Everything's gonna go back to normal. And he's like, but I mean, I had 2 cows die this week because I can't feed them. It's okay. It's okay. Right? Like, it's almost like this weird therapy session that's going on right now with just like these beautiful dressed people. And immediately when you enter, Madame Odette approaches you. She's in her mid-30s. She wears a long blue dress with low hanging shoulder straps just below the elbow. And she has 2 elbow length white gloves, and she walks up and she says, Frey, is that you? Have you been taking care of yourself? I always worry about you. You're the sweetest boy, but trouble just seems to always find you.
Mama Odette, I've been doing the best I can. Would you mind if we go up to my room and chat?
You always have a home here, darling. Sure. You wanna go up and have some privacy? Head on upstairs to the left, as always. Who are your friends? Who are your friends?
Well, Tobias here. He's a little worse for wear at the moment.
Hi. How are you doing?
Yeah, you did great, buddy. He just had a real big surgery with the doc, and he needs to rest it off. The rest of
The doc is the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. She just cut me open and sewed me back up. It was the best.
Sounds to me like he's been drinking at the saloon, if that's what he's saying.
No, he's been doing a little bit of that too, Mama.
Yeah. Take him upstairs. Keep an eye on him. Things are tense around here, as you know. Folks are worried about the winter. It looks like if the cows keep dying, we might not have food.
Of course, and my friends here, they are here to help. So we're gonna try to figure it out.
She looks at you all. Yeah, pleasure to meet you. I am the madam of the house, Odette Lambert. This here is this. I never had any kids, but if I had a son, this is a good boy, right? This is a sweet boy. Mind your manners around him, because I know he's big and he's large and he can be a little bit intimidating, but he's sweet as a summer breeze. You're in good hands here with Frey.
Oh, come on now. And I blush and I start walking up the stairs.
No. I know how it is around here. Everyone wants to be the biggest and the baddest and the toughest, but poet's heart, this one. Poet's heart. Hey, now, the only trouble I'm worrying about, you take care of my boy. None of y'all go disrespecting him, because he's a sweetheart, and I don't need this town corrupting him or any outsiders, you know what I'm saying?
Ain't no town gonna corrupt me, don't worry.
I know.
So, Mama, I was hoping you could come up to the room with us. I gotta lay this guy down on the bed. He thinks he's walking right now, but he's really got to rest up. Do you mind if we talk to you? We do have some questions. We're trying to figure something out.
She looks over her shoulder, just kind of gets an eye at the room, sees nothing's wrong at the moment. She's, yeah, I can spare a few moments. Let's head on up to your room. Come on, folks, come on. I'll have some food and bring up. I don't think we need any drinks anymore with this one.
But I'm so thirsty. I'm positively parched. I had a gag in my mouth for an hour.
She takes her gloved finger. She says, "Shh, baby. That's fine. And I'm all about the kinks and everything. But right now, I don't think that's the time for that. Don't you worry, sugar. And she scritches the top of your head, and like you're like a mixture of just like high and LSD. She's like, we're gonna take care of you, and tomorrow morning we'll talk about that. Let's just follow me, and like a breadcrumb trail. She's just like squishing the hair, and you're following like the cartoon when you smell food just hovering off the floor, following her. And she's like, all right, come on, I got him under control. And this ain't the first time I've seen this.
Is there a bar down here?
There is a bar.
I just want to real quick go up to the counter and say, I would like a tall glass of water, please.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely, right away. Leans over, has a little pump in the back, gives you like the tall, 16-ounce glass of water. Would that be all?
Thanks. I'm gonna scurry up upstairs after everybody.
All right. Unless anyone else has anything they want to do, eventually you all find yourself in Frey's room. There's a single bed, there's a desk with a chair. As you are kind of moving up into it, Madame Odette is sort of, gesturing to like some of the help and stuff, like, give us a few chairs. And you find yourself in this small room with enough chairs for everyone to sit down.
I's probably gonna pass out on the bed. At least lay down.
I'm gonna put the glass of water on the bedside table, say nothing, just
She-
put it down and walk away.
There's that like frat boy moment where like she's leading you towards the bed and you go to pass out on it and it looks like he's about to, and then he just like hits it cockeyed and begins to slide down onto the floor where he's about to face plant, and she's like, Frey.
Swoop over, flip him
Come
onto
in.
the bed.
Pick him up, and he's just like, trying to swim in air at this point. He's just so freaking out of it, and you eventually get him up onto the bed. She's like, mind my manners. All right.
Hey, you got the softest arms.
Thank you. I just.
Madame Odette sits
He's
down.
gonna have a rough morning.
Yeah. Yeah, tell me about it. Now then, Frey, what is it you and your friends wanted to talk about?
Well, we were wondering if you knew anything about a man named Rishu Chetty.
She kind of bites her lip and looks down and says, now, Frey, you know my rules about talking about patrons and visitors.
Yes, I do understand, and believe me, I would not be asking you if it wasn't important, but we really got to figure out who murdered this man, and I was really hoping I could turn to you. Maybe you knew something.
To be clear, madam, we don't want to know anything about his, sexual preferences or anything like that. So, at least you wouldn't be. That's all private.
Unless it's relevant, to his death.
Right. That.
Her eyes get kind of like a little bit teary and big, and she looks at all of you and says, all I can say is you're going to want to talk to Rosary. It's not my business. It's one thing when you're asking when customers are coming in, but that tale that you're asking me to tell has workers involved as well. And it's one thing to respect that privacy, but these are my children. So you go talk to her, and she's like, go down the hall, turn left, and if she wants to share with you, that's fine, but I ain't saying nothing more than that. No disrespect, Frey, I love you, but I also wouldn't say anything about things I know about you when you first came in.
I totally understand, don't worry. We will go and talk to Rosary.
Now you be good. She kisses you on the forehead.
Always will. Let's leave his high ass here, but head on over.
It's fair. It's very fair.
All right. You guys head down the hall. You head towards Rosary's room. Give a slight nod. Opens up. Rosary. You recognize Rosary immediately, right? Like Rosary is gorgeous. She. If there was a gem, if there was, I can't remember the name of it, but like the burning sapphire in Moulin Rouge, right? Like that level of beauty. It is definitely Rosary. She opens the door, looks in southern terms, pretty as a peach. Seems very shy, looks up at you in your big frame. You know, you guys have interacted a little bit, and she just says, "Yeah, Frey?"
Rosary, we were wondering if we could just ask you a couple questions about something that happened, and we're not looking to get you in trouble or anything. We're just trying to find any information about this guy.
Who are you asking about?
Do you know a man named Rishu Chetty?
She bites her bottom lip and looks very, very nervous. I'll give you advantage because, so here's how we're going to do this. I'm going to give you advantage. If you fail, I will let someone else take a check. But it is going to be a high number because she very, very much does not want to talk about this man. So it's going to be a target number 11 with advantage.
What is the skill?
Well, first we're going to let Frey do it. So Frey, for you, it is target number 11 with advantage. It will, I'm going to say it's probably convince at this point, which is intellect based.
It's not going to go well. What am
Unless you
what am I
want to
shooting
try
for?
something else. Target number 11.
11. Okay.
Yep.
The card flipping server is currently not up.
Oh. Oh, that's why my Facebook is blowing up.
Yeah.
We've been having a bit of a moment over here.
Yeah.
What are all of us looking like in this room? Like we all came into this room except for Toby, right? What do we got for positioning wise? Because maybe this is just intimidating or persuasive.
You guys are still in the
In the
hall.
way that-
She's just kind of cracking the
Okay.
door.
Okay.
Yeah. Nemo is near the back of the group, continually looking back at Tobias's room, just in case, you know, he falls on the ground and his skull cracks open or something like that.
Before we continue to stall with this, just in case it goes bad, can I get either, because I know CJ and Trevor, you both have decks nearby you. Can I get you guys to grab a deck in case we can't get this back up online?
Same.
Awesome. Yeah, if you guys can run and do that, both of you grab a deck. Nemo, Ellie, we'll keep doing that. We're gonna freaking MacGyver this shit. We're gonna get it working. We're gonna get it working. All right. Sorry. Continue, Nemo.
No, that's essentially it. She'd just be sticking around the back, you know, ready to go if there's a crashing sound or a scream or something from Tobias's room. But she's not. She doesn't feel like she's the right person to talk to Rosary, so she's hanging back.
I know for a fact Tobias is out like a light.
I will say this, Tobias. It is by far the most comfortable bed you've ever slept in.
Mm-hmm. Anything's nicer than the stones I was sleeping in. Mind my own bed. Jeez.
Laying on the ground.
The bathroom's on the other side of the room, thank God.
Maeve's just doing their best to look non-threatening and sympathetic at the moment.
I think Ellie is just sort of staring. Like Ellie isn't looking in the room, is listening, but with Meave and Nemo, is just watching all the patrons and the entirety of this setting, sort of just looking out on the balcony and watching everybody else kind of come and go.
Okay.
right.
I will go ahead and flip. Is that cool?
Yeah, card
Yeah,
flipping
let's,
is the server's back up now.
All right. Can someone flip on the server if possible?
Yep. I got you.
Look at that stall, man. If I didn't know better, I'd say we know what we're doing, right? Freaking
Right.
professionals.
Dollars.
Advantage or no advantage?
Frey does have advantage.
Oh, thank God, because got a 1 of tomes initially. Congratulations, Frey, a 3.
Plus
That's a
anything?
0. It's a solid 0.
Frey, you try to bond with Rosary, and she just says, "I don't want to talk about it," and looks ready to close the door. Does anyone else want to make a target number 11 convince? I'll let them also do bewitch if they have it. Check.
I'm so sad I'm not here for this.
I know.
If no one has
Um,
anything, I can try to intimidate, but
quick-
go ahead,
No,
Maeve.
no.
Quick question. Convince or bewitch are which base? I've got the sheet. now.
Convince
Bewitch is
intellect,
charm.
Bewitch is charm.
And convince is what? Sorry.
Intellect.
Intellect. Okay, so that's no ads in both, but I think maybe Maeve would go for it, to be honest. So I think Maeve would kind of put their foot in the door and be like, "I'm really sorry to bother you. You obviously seem to feel uncomfortable about this. Death isn't easy, no matter how it happened, but we're trying to get the guild out of Innocence, and we think this might be a lead, a way to help." And I'm gonna flip.
That's good, RP. I'll lower the number down to a 9.
Okay, that's good because I just put it in my hand on accident. I just pulled the flippin' black joker somehow.
This
I thought
shouldn't
we already
be.
pulled that.
It
It
shouldn't,
shouldn't be possible, but we reset the thing. So
Yeah.
ignore the black joker, so because it shouldn't be possible for you.
Should
to
I
get it.
flip another one or should I
Yeah.
cheat it? Okay, I'll flip another one then.
You can't cheat a black joker.
Yeah.
Ah, yeah, that's
You
fair.
did get it, yeah.
Okay, so that's a 13 of tomes. Plus 0.
She looks at you, looks back at Frey, hangs her head low, and kind of opens the door. You go in. It is a very luxurious apartment. It's French inspired, gold gilded mirrors. There are so many vases filled with flowers all along the desk. Half of them are dying because she just hasn't thrown them out yet. And like all of you can see, like there's different names and cards on them just from admirers. But she doesn't seem happy. She sits down on the bed and says, he was a good man. A great man. I had a kid a while back. I mean, this ain't no place to raise a child, so I sent him to the city. I paid some folks to raise him right. Rishu, he didn't know if it was his. He didn't care. He kept sending money. Sneaking out at night. Leaving it under the porch when folks got too suspicious. I mean, maybe I'm a fool, but I think that idiot actually loved me. It's not good for business if James and John's know you got a kid on the side. I didn't want to ignore him, but I got this letter. And she goes over to her desk and opens it up and hands it to you, Maeve. And it says, I know your secret. You will ignore your suitor or the child will suffer.
You were being blackmailed.
I don't know who sent it, but it showed up with one of the payments and it wasn't his writing. He meant well, but I didn't want any harm to come from him or to him. We were already kind of living a secretive life, and I thought if I stayed away, he'd be safe. I was wrong.
You did the best you could.
Yeah.
I don't know everything. I'm coming in here out of, nothing. I don't know anyone in this town, but I feel you're suffering, and it's not your fault.
I know. Just, it's hard to think you had the option for happiness, and you turned left instead of right. You find that son of a bitch who killed my Rishu, and you make him suffer.
We'll get to the bottom of this. Thank you for sharing with us. I know it wasn't easy.
Frey, you know how it is. If you could, don't let anyone know.
Not a word, Rosary, not a word.
Thank you.
We'll leave you be.
She nods, and just at this point in time, she kind of, pulling up the handkerchief and crying a little bit and blowing her nose, and obviously didn't want to talk about it, but it's bringing the sorrow back.
Rosary, we're I don't know how long we'll be in town, where we'll be, anything like that, but if you need something, or if you feel your safety's at risk, please find us.
I think I'm okay. I mean, I don't want the guild coming in. All I want is justice.
Yeah.
Madame Odette takes good care of us.
Well, we're definitely not bringing any sort of the guild in. We're trying to get it out, so thank you. We hope this will help.
Yeah.
All right, well, come on, everyone. Maeve's gonna.
When Meave says the thing about we're not bringing the guilds in here, probably Frey or Meave wouldn't see it, but Nemo just gives this look to Ellie just to gauge.
Ellie's face staring out against the across the setting again, not really looking into the room, but just listening, is just one of these.
Okay. Nemo keeps her mouth shut and goes back out into the hallway with everybody.
All right. So I'm thinking you guys are probably gonna stay the night, sleep it off, so Toby can get back into the game. Am I correct in assuming that?
Yes.
I'd like to sleep off some bullet wounds too. That would be nice. So
Yeah, you're hurting a bit.
In your
Yeah.
sleep, like we're sleeping a room over and we hear.
As we are coming into buying rooms and whatnot, I'm gonna go find Madame Odette and say, how much is a room?
Madame Odette will tell you that friends of Frey are friends of hers, and with how downtrodden everyone has been, most of the workers haven't really been having fun, but they're kind of just helping downtrodden folks get through their suffering. So there's actually a lot of rooms available.
Ray would like to go out of his way to not be alone. So he goes into the closet and pulls out cots and crap and whatever he can. He goes, there's space by Tobias on the bed, whatever you guys want. You can stay in my room. And I just sit and I'll sleep over here, and it's just this spot on the floor that you
That's
can
so
see.
adorable.
I've slept there before.
I love that.
Yeah, Maeve's fine. Maeve's all right, and just kind of lays on a cot. Sounds good to me. I'm not fussy.
Right, I prefer to sleep on the floor. Why don't you take a bed or a cot or something?
No, don't you worry about it. I like the spot over here. It's
so you're
all
going
good.
to make me sleep in a cot?
Damn it. Nope. I'll sleep in the cot. If it's really what you want, I'll sleep in the cot.
Nemo's gonna sit cross-legged on the ground and not sleep through the whole night, but
All right. You guys, some of you bunk up, some of you are given different rooms. Ellie, where do you sleep?
Yeah, what is the sleeping arrangement, real quick? Is everybody going in the same room?
I think so.
So far, it's a
I'm
sleepover.
So far, so good.
All right, it's a small room. I'm going to say the room can hold 2 other people, and then other than that, there's just not enough room. And poor Frey only has so many blankets.
Frey tries to
I got
sleep under the bed, but can't fit.
Well, then Ellie will basically, while all of you are prepping in another room, Ellie will just rent her own room, right, from Madame Odette, and then go stay in it and just hang out in there.
Okay.
I mean, if it is looking really crowded with the 4 of us in one, Meave might poke their head out, look around, maybe see Ellie, and be like, "Do you have room in your room?"
I have room in my room. Come on.
and Meave will go join Ellie in her room. Thank you. It's a bit crowded.
Oh, you sure? All right.
Yeah.
Now enjoy yourself, Frey. Enjoy. You've got to keep an eye on Toby, and Nemo will help, and I presume. And yeah, see you in the morning then.
Deep in the darkest depths of the night, once Frey goes to sleep, Nemo's going to loom over Tobias like a fucking monster until he wakes up, just with the intensity of staring.
He's gonna like still partially drugged and like turn over and like Ugh. Hi Nemo.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm fine.
Why are you staring at me?
Never mind. Good night. Nemo's gonna go to bed. Nemo's
mean,
gonna turn around and go into her cot.
It was a lovely chat, but you know, I guess is something bugging you? It's you know, you don't wake someone in the middle of the night staring over them if nothing's bugging you.
No, Nemo's gonna get back out of her cot. She's gonna bend over it. She's gonna give Tobias a very weird hug because he is fully in bed. Stand up, nod, go back and just pretend to be asleep as quickly as she possibly can.
This is so wholesome, so sweet.
Meanwhile,
I mean, Tobias has never felt so warm and fuzzy in his life.
Did you have something you were going to do, Ellie?
meanwhile, in the Meave Ellie room, how fast does Meave go to sleep?
Probably not super fast. So yeah.
You just notice. It's our first time meeting. Ellie, mostly I imagine, unless Meave is talking to Ellie, I was just sort of like, here's your bed. All right, I'm gonna get in mine.
Right. Yeah, it's basically gonna be I think Meave would be like, right, and then we'll briefly try to strike up conversations. You know, really is interesting. It's not just the Neverborn writing. You know, it wasn't just on the well outside. You know, in the town. It's also down in the mines. Yeah, when we were on a mine cart. You know, and there was these 2 writings there as well, and it's basically it said one side was certain death. Well, it said fire pits actually, and the other side wasn't. So we went that way, of course. And and there was something earlier as well. It was the same thing written over and over again. What was that? Oh, I can't remember.
Forget us. Forget what you see, lest you bring evil to the world.
No, that was on the well actually. No, it was It was down in the mines, yeah. And it was just someone had written it over and over and over again. Yeah, anyway, so there's Neverborn everywhere around here. It's really interesting.
Are you interested in Neverborn?
I'm an archaeologist, so any lost civilization is exactly what I'm interested in.
I pull out a stack of papers from my bag, and I throw them in your direction. They're like bundled together, so it's not just a rude like slaying of paper. But I toss them over. Stole these from the guild bounty hunting office. Every one of them's about Neverborn. Enjoy.
Thank you. That's So wait, are these bounties on Neverborn, or what is this exactly?
It's a mixture of information for killing. It is from the perspective of this type of creature, their dangers, how they're inhuman and terrible, and how they can be killed.
Oh,
And
interesting.
there's an encyclopedia of that.
Okay, so Maeve is for a minute just gonna, and is just kind of flipping through. What? So this is from the guild then?
Mm-hmm.
Ah, right. Wow, they've really got it out for the Neverborn, don't they? They just kind
Seems
of,
like it.
it's very, very detailed. I imagine they've done their research.
Quick question for you.
Yes. What's
Is
it?
Frey a Neverborn?
I don't know. I just met him, so
You just knew him a little bit longer than me, and the fact that he has black blood oozing out of him seems like a questionable thing.
I mean, that's fair. That's certainly something that might arouse some sort of suspicion. I mean, if I was bleeding black, I'd find that very unusual. Just quick out of character, would I have any immediate? You could, or yeah, I don't know.
Yes.
Okay, do you want to message me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Neve, why did you save Toby?
Honestly, I just wanted to see in the mine, and I don't like bullies. I don't like people who put other people under their boot, you know. And so I'd already wanted to get in the mine. I wasn't going to get in the mine on my own. And then you add on the fact that someone was, you know, getting the shit kicked out of them, and I thought, I don't like that either, and I just sort of,
There you go.
Yep.
just sort of went with it, you know.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. See somebody get beat up, you gotta go stop them.
Right. Well, I mean, you know, I'm not exactly scrappy myself, but yeah. I haven't known Frey all that much longer than you've known him, but he's a good man. He put his life on the line to help. So I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Why? Do you have experience with Neverborn?
Not really. There's something. Is it an Neverborn? Have you heard of the Widow Weaver?
Have I heard of the Widow Weaver? No. No, afraid I haven't.
It's very spooky spider lady.
Sounds horrifying.
Yeah, had to kill her to try to save some kids. That was an experience. Maybe that was it, I guess. Saw some small little dolls. They were kind of creepy.
Okay. Yeah. They definitely, from, you know, everything I know, they definitely can be, but they're you know, so can anyone else, really, I guess. I'd like to hope that maybe you just ran into the worst of them. I mean, I don't want you to have run into the worst of them. That's not exactly what I mean. But I just mean that, well, you know, I study civilizations, and they're one of the civilizations I've studied, and it's just sort of I can't. They're functioning beings, and they have writing, and they've got old cities and ruins, and I can't imagine they were just all bad, right?
Oh, I don't expect they are. Not most, most people are kind of a mix of gray.
Exactly.
Right.
So, and then sometimes some sort of drive or some sort of need or want pushes someone to do something.
Do you have
they're
any
not proud.
answers for why somebody would do a really dumb decision for somebody else?
Love?
Any other reasons?
Well, I guess it just sort of depends on the dumb decision and the circumstance. I mean, if they're really just doing it for someone else and not for themselves, then the only thing I can really think of is either love or some strange hero complex.
You are watching Ellie, and as you say, particularly each time you say love, she's just like, there's a little bit of a, and then the hero complex is like, Right, all right. Well, if you find any other answers, I'm gonna go to bed.
Right? Yes. Well, thank you for listening.
You watch her, she just drags the bed so it blocks the corner of the bed, seals the door shut, and then she pushes it against the wall, just in case somebody tries to get in here.
That's actually really clever. Like a lot easier than sleeping with like a knife under your pillow or something. I mean, you just keep it from happening at all.
Usually we take shifts to sleep on the floor. In this situation, we have the bed and they're movable. It's kind of nice.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, absolutely. Well, this means that we can both just get a full night's sleeping.
Yep.
Brilliant. Well, it was nice talking with you, Ellie. I'll let you know if I can think of any other reason that someone would try to do something for someone else.
Quick, one more question before I go to bed.
Right, yeah?
You ever read Frankenstein? By Mary Shelley?
Yes.
Is Frey Frankenstein?
No, that wouldn't be my first thought about him.
Well,
but
not technically the monster Frankenstein, but you know what I mean, like kind of like that.
Well, it is pretty obvious to me he's had some sort of replacement done on his eyes, but I don't think that justifies calling him a Frankenstein.
True. Just checking. Neverborn, new thing for me. Monsters, new thing for me. Trying to sort this all out.
Right, well, I mean, I don't know that he's either of those things. He might just be a man who's had some strange things happen to him.
Yep. Well, I'm gonna go to bed now.
Mm-hmm.
If you think of a reason why somebody would do something really dumb in those books and those civilizations you study, let me know. Any other reasons in the two you listed?
Being a good person?
That one's better. I like that one.
I'm glad I could help.
And then Ellie lays down in bed, and since Meave takes a while to go to bed, Meave just sees that Ellie just is laying there. It's not really going to bed. It's just sort of like...
Meave is gonna give Ellie the privacy of pretending, like they will eventually fall asleep anyway, but pretending that they're a little bit faster at falling asleep than they actually are. So they'll kind of roll over and be like, like pull the blanket over themselves and put on not like a major show of sleeping, but just one of those like make a few sleeping noises and then kind of just settle in and leave themselves to their own thoughts instead, and be like, obviously she needs some time to think, so I'm just gonna let her have that.
Oh, I love that. That was a God dang, that was a sweet, wholesome scene. Oh, goodness. Well,
Ellie denies the existence of love for 5 minutes straight.
no, it was good. It was good. Like with my thoughts and knowing of each character, just like the stuff behind the scenes that was happening was so good, so good. That was all really happy and really wholesome. Let me fuck that up.
Rosary gets shot.
Nemo,
Oh no!
Gets shot.
you finished your desperate, drunken conversation.
I wasn't drunk.
Not
Tobias was.
Oh,
Tobias was.
okay.
Tobias, who's not processing. And as you turn away from the bed, you are on the second story and you see a branch thin hand that is now pressed against the window. The fingers a little bit too long, the knuckles swollen, thick, and it just click, 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 click. And you can see that the arm is black, very fine suit, black. And you are on the second story, and
Does the limb
click.
appear not just that it's very long? Does it appear like it's stretched, like a piece of clay?
you're on the second story. All you see is the window with the limb sort of pressed against it and the elongated fingers. Click, click. Hard to tell. You would have to step to the window to see.
But it could be. I'm going to roll. I'm imagining kind of the way the cots are lined up, or that they're kind of next to each other. I'm gonna roll over and like kind of hiss in Frey's face. Hey, everything's cool. Everything's fine. Just be chill. You go back to sleep in like 60 seconds. Just be awake for a moment. Everything's fine.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
You catch the spray. This is strange.
I'm just going to go over to the window, and then I'm going to come back. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, cool. Thank you. And I'm just going to fucking roll off the bed, and I'm going to... I'm not stealthing over to the window, but I'm trying to, like, stand to the side of the window and look down. Is it stretched like clay?
You walk up to the window and you see, starting at the window, coming down is an arm that is like a hose where it drapes down, but occasionally it is kinked. The actual limb kind of twists around in unraveled knots where like it gets about halfway down the wall, twist, it gets to the junction before it hits the floor, which it's dragging on, and it twists and it goes and it swirls like a snake where occasionally they have those kinks in this hose, and it comes all the way back up to a shoulder, probably about 40 feet back from this establishment. A very tall, thin, pale man.
Okay,
And
but
though
I've
the
met
entire
1,000 tall, thin men. There are so many tall, thin men in my life. Is this guy's face
No,
made out
there-
of clay?
There is only there's one man
Moody
you
was
met with
also a tall, thin man.
Abram Moody, though. This is the tall, thin man. This is the man whose face you've never seen, with a very tall top hat. And in the past, he's always just been humanoid shaped, but this time, his fire hose-like arm is slooping all along the ground, slithering up the wall, and just tapping on the window. And the second you see him, the 8-foot tall, bone thin figure, its head shifts looks up to the window, and the hand stops tapping, turns, and does this.
I'm busy. I'm busy. I'm doing something. I'm gonna go into my pocket and I'm gonna take out the notebook and tear out a piece of paper, write on a pen. I know. Probably soon. I get it. I completely understand. Not right now. And I'm gonna just drop it out the window. I'm gonna just open it a sliver so I can get the piece of paper out, not let the hand in, but just like send the little note out.
It begins to float down, and the hand catches it in midair and just pulls back. You see a moment where the head turns down, is obviously reading a note, pulls out its own pen, wraps around, twists, moves like an eradicated snake, just up the window, and the fingers are just long enough to where the tips dip right in the window and hold the piece of paper.
Just barely open the window just so I can take that little slip of paper. And I'll take it. Yeah, I'll read it.
It says, "You will trade a life for a soul, and your savior will suffer." And beneath that, in elegant scrawl, it says, "I would tell you more, but you don't want to talk." And when you look back up, the figure is gone.
I'm gonna put the note. I'm gonna like try to put it in my little journal in such a way, like wedge it in there so hopefully it doesn't come flying out, and wrap up my journal. Okay, you can go back to sleep. Thank you.
Frey, it's moonlit. You saw just this bone-thin, elongated hand, with a black sleeve, just like you saw, like all the shit happening in the window. Very unsettling. Nothing you've ever seen before. Very, very strange.
Do you want to talk about that?
Do you?
We all have our secrets, I guess. Let me know if I can help.
Yeah, maybe. Thank you for staying awake. I didn't really think through that you would see it.
If you don't mind, I'm gonna stay awake just like a little longer. Frey does not go to sleep that night. Not even a little bit.
Yep.
Tobias snores loudly.
Nemo at some point in the middle of the night goes and refills Tobias' little water glass and comes back so it's ready.
That's so sweet.
Nemo also doesn't sleep, but she never sleeps, so she's just gonna sit cross-legged on top of her bed.
I made some weird ass friends.
Yep.
Yeah. You guys have a night after that. Nemo, bit strange, bit interesting, something to consider. And the next morning arrives, but before we get back into the mystery, I think we're going to end it here. It's already 9:30, and we have a lot more to discuss with the mystery of who killed Rusha Chiki. Rusha? Something like that.
Rishu.
Rishu,
Chetty.
thank you.
Nailed it.
Rishu Chetty.
Got it in one.
Richard Cheddar.
Richard Cheddar.
Rakshasa.
All right. Daniel or Lauren, take us up.
Hey, yeah, so we want to shout out, shout out to Waypoint Live, who just came in here right at the end with a nice little raid. I hate that we caught here at the last of it here in our Through the Breach campaign. But you can catch us here every Tuesday at 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. But you can also follow and subscribe on YouTube and catch all the VODs here on Twitch and over on there as well. So that's super great if you want to see more of the story as we go through. But thank you all so much for joining us. I want to shout out the people who have followed us this evening. That is Geek for TV and Akathuhu, I guess is what it's called. That's what I'm going to go with. Gifted subs from McBluff. Thank you so much for all of that. Ali Vasco with the follow. And Waypoint Live and Wolf on the Door for the follow just now. So, hey, thank you guys so much for all this. We look forward to future episodes with you guys. If you want, the Ink and Lyre channel has a ton of shows. We have 3 shows. On Mondays, you can see Fate's End. It starts at 7:30 Central Standard Time. Which is a traditional 5e homebrew show that you can see Deanna on that show. Tuesdays, like I said, is here with Twisted Veil, and then tomorrow is Iron Valor. We're currently working our way through the Curse of Strahd modules, so you can check us out there. We're going to be working through the what is it called? The Wizard of the Wines, and we might find a Radiant Weapon of Light. So that'll be
my favorite part of that module.
It's a great module. So you can find us there as well. And then on Fridays we play some games. Lauren's making her way through Man of Medan as we take a break from our busy week. You can follow us on all the socials at Ink and Lyre everywhere. YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. Here on Twitch, all the fun places. You can get our merch at inkandlyre.com and support us in all those ways. So thank you all so much for joining us. We're going to send everybody else on the raid as well. So we're going to go to our end screen now, and we will send you guys off somewhere in a second. So thank you all, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye, guys.